Chapter 79. Everyone was at a loss. A few people on the roof even looked down on the street, thinking that the archer must have accidentally fallen. When everyone realized that this wasn't a special situation, and that the archer had simply been killed in an instant, everyone went crazy. Being killed by a fireball was unheard of since the start of the game. As one of the most basic spells for mages, Fireball was the fastest to cast, consumed the least mana, and had some advantages such as automatic tracking. At the same time, it had the lowest attack and was an unavoidable misfortune for a basic spell. To be able to kill someone in an instant with a fireball. How powerful would the character's magic attack be? Everyone knew how much magic attack could be brought by adding points to a mainstream level 30 character. Thus, it could only be said that Gu Fei's equipment was too terrifying. But Gu Fei was clearly holding a sword. How could a sword have magic attack? Everyone found it inconceivable. In fact, it wasn't hard to understand. Gu Fei's equipment wasn't very overpowered, but it was high-end equipment, gold and purple among high-end equipment. It was like a person armed with an AK-47 fighting with a saber and a spear. The firepower was completely different. Gu Fei couldn't completely reach the sword coefficient of the Nightstreak sword, so he couldn't display the sword's maximum physical damage. But he could reach the sword's magic coefficient, even though he had never added intelligence. This was something that even Gu Fei himself didn't know. The reason he could achieve it was because of the mage's natural magic coefficient bonus and the Night Spirit Robe's spell mastery +1. Even Gu Fei himself was shocked when he killed the other party with a single fireball. Damn, the power of the spell was too great. In comparison, his martial arts damage was so weak. Gu Fei felt wronged and felt that his martial arts weren't worth it. Then he pointed the sword at the sky. A mage on the roof reacted quickly. After a moment of shock, he shouted, "Fuck the heavenly fire wheel, run!" The guys on the roof immediately covered their heads and scurried away. Gu Fei was stunned. What was that? Heavenly fire wheel, a level 24 mage skill. Summoning a wheel of fire that descended from the sky to spin and burn the earth. It was a spell with an AoE effect, and was currently the main skill for mages to level up. Gu Fei was at a loss. He hadn't heard of this term because he hadn't learned it yet. Gu Fei only had 3 spells in his list. Level 0 Fireball, Level 6 Resistance Ring of Fire, and Level 30 Chain Fireball. Gu Fei didn't even know what level 12, level 18, and level 24 spells were, let alone learn them. The people on the rooftop were terrified as they tried to escape. If Gu Fei had thrown a heavenly fire wheel, would the people on the rooftop still be alive? At that time, the few of them were huddled in the corner of the room, wanting to launch a sneak attack on Gu Fei. In fact, it was too suitable for a heavenly wheel of fire to surround him. This person probably didn't want his PK points to increase so much at once, so he released a small fireball as a warning. Everyone felt that Gu Fei had shown mercy. These people were all on the road to level 30 and had already accumulated a lot of experience. They wouldn't be willing to die at this time. Gu Fei blankly withdrew his sword, and turned to look at the other people on the street. In these people's eyes, Gu Fei's sword was demonic and illusory. It felt like they were about to be devoured. "Run!" someone shouted, and everyone began to flee in all directions. The fast thieves ran with sprinting, the slow thieves went into stealth, and the slowest warrior cried, "Wait for me." He wiped his tears as he chased after the disappearing thieves. Why are they all running? Gu Fei was greatly disappointed. He had just mentally prepared himself to bear more PK points. These people were too unkind. Didn't they know that wasting other people's feelings was a very shameful thing? "Master!" The coward savior, whose back was sore from running, came over. "Don't call me that." Gu Fei was in a bad mood. Of course, he wouldn't go so far as to attack the coward savior. "Are you okay?" Gu Fei asked. "I'm fine. Let's go." Gu Fei waved at him. "Where are you going?" The coward savior followed closely behind. "Wash my PK points." Gu Fei was in tears. After the passion, there would always be lingering impulsive punishments. PK points was only one of them. It was a pity that the clothes that he had just bought to hide his identity had been exposed again. The PK quest that he had received before still hadn't disappeared. Gu Fei checked the coordinates and rushed over. At this time his PK points had returned to 11. Many people from Bygone Dust had come to the quest office on 4th Street of Moonlit City. Lan Yi, the second in command of Bygone Dust, asked, "Are you sure it's the person who killed the guild leader?" Several people hurriedly nodded. "I recognize his clothes and the sword in his hand. This person is a mage." Lan Yi was very surprised. On the side, Boundless Mang was also in disbelief. This person couldn't be identified, and he didn't use any skills in battle, so they couldn't identify his class. Later they heard from the guild members that this person had used Fireball, so he was without a doubt a mage. Lan Yi looked at the players from Moonlit Night City and said, "There's no PK points above 4. He just killed 4 of you? Including me 4. A certain archer was ashamed. He was the one who was killed by Gu Fei's fireball. If he had dodged, he might have been able to escape, but he was too confident. So he definitely isn't a player from Moonlit Night City, Boundless Mang said with certainty. This reminded everyone. Lan Yi shivered and said, "Could it be the mage from Cloud City?" Everyone entered the overall quest board. Number 27149 was at the top with a bright red PK points of 11. He was the only one in the entire parallel world with a PK point in 2 digits. Currently, the hottest topic in the forum was no longer the melee mage's weird points, enchanted equipment, or battle techniques. What everyone admired the most was his fearless spirit. In the parallel world, even the most passionate PK points would be carefully controlled to keep their PK points below 10, or even 5. Too high a PK point would easily attract the bounty hunter's pursuit, and it would take too long to clear the PK point. Not everyone could bear the pressure of losing 2 or more levels after dying for such a long time. The 15 PK points of 27149 was an unsurpassable peak in many people's hearts because it was a record that no one would dare to challenge. What do we do next? Lan Yi asked Boundless Mang. Boundless Mang didn't have a position in the guild, nor was she a core member, but as the wife of the guild leader, people would give her some face. She was the nameless but powerful type. Not to mention, this girl was an expert. She was a beautiful and playful girl. She was the best in the game. She was very popular in former Dust's guild. Do you even need to ask? Of course we're going to get a quest. Boundless Mang said, "Call all the guild members online." In a town with a strong PK atmosphere like Moonlit Night City, the guild was clearly much more united than the one in Cloud City. After all, you could rely on yourself to level in the game, but you had to rely on your friends to fight. How could you have more stable friends? The guild was naturally the best choice. Moreover, with the protection of former Dust's guild, the benefits in Moonlit Night City were obvious to everyone. In this kind of guild, the guild leader or any other person with real power would have a lot of influence. Lan Yi and Boundless Mang called out in the guild channel. Whether they were willing or forced, the members of former Dust who were online all flocked to the bounty quest post from all directions. Get the 27149 bounty quest. Find this person but don't alarm him. If you find him, just follow him carefully. Boundless Mang gave the order in the guild channel. The members of former Dust lined up in an orderly manner to get the quest. The surrounding players were shocked. What kind of big move was former Dust planning? Which guild was he going to destroy? The coordinates have been refreshed. A group of people who had already received the quest suddenly shouted, "If you receive the coordinates, head out." Boundless Mang waved his hand. Not long after, the members of former Dust who didn't have a bounty quest received the 27149 bounty quest, and set out according to the coordinates. Boundless Mang looked around and suddenly shouted, "Everyone, the player with 11 PK points on the PK list, 27149, is currently in our Moonlit Night City. Everyone hurry up and get the quest." The missions office immediately went into an uproar as everyone asked, "Really?" Boundless Mang nodded his head. However, the waves he set off couldn't compare to Cloud City. After all, those who hadn't personally experienced Gu Fei's pursuit of unlawing wouldn't be as interested in him. From a quest point of view, the reward of 11 PK points was very generous. However, most people had to consider whether or not they were strong enough to earn this bucket of gold. Who was this person? Just based on PK points alone, It would be an understatement to say that 1 in 10,000 people dared to reach double digits. Based on the current number of players in the parallel world, there was less than 1 in a million. The main reason why Moonlit Night City's bounty quest office was so lively was that many people needed quests to clear their PK points. This kind of person would never touch this thorn. Most people only had 1 or 2 PK points. Was it necessary to touch this demon with 11 PK points? If they failed to kill him and got killed instead, they would drop 2 levels. In the end, those who would accept this quest would either be greedy for the quest reward of 11 PK points, or they would be curious about this melee mage. It seems that not many people have accepted the quest. Lonnie saw the situation and said to Boundless Mang. Boundless Mang smiled. That's for the best. I was afraid that this guy couldn't handle too many people. What do you mean? Lonnie didn't understand. Me? I just want his PK points to be higher. That way it'll be fun to farm him. Boundless Mang said. Lonnie sucked in a breath of cold air. This woman was too sinister. Chapter 80. Gu Fei, who had just finished off his target, was very sad. After killing so many people and exposing his identity as a mage, combined with the rules of the PK quest, if the former guild members weren't too stupid, they should have already guessed that he was 27,149 on the PK list. In this way, there was no point in changing his appearance again. He could imagine that it wouldn't be long before there would be thousands of troops chasing after the coordinates he had moved to. He had no choice but to spend the next 20 hours running endlessly, farming PK while running for his life. This idea wasn't realistic. Gu Fei estimated that the place where the wanted quest was issued had already been set up with a trap. If he went there again, he might not be sent to prison, but he would definitely be cut down. At this time, the quest was already completed, but he didn't dare to go back to hand it over. Now there was no chance to surrender. Gu Fei sighed. Another main city? Gu Fei had this idea, but when he opened his friends list, he found that Hongchen Yixiao wasn't online. Hongchen Yixiao shouldn't be considered the king of information. He was the king of exposure. Without his exposure, Gu Fei only knew the mountain road to Cloud City. Returning to Cloud City, the situation was exactly the same as now. Gu Fei looked up at the sky and sighed. The world is big. Where is my home? Wasn't this game a little too deep? Just as he was worrying, a few players appeared in his field of vision, looking around and running quickly. Found me, Gu Fei thought. Although he was also constantly moving, unless he was running in a straight line, it was impossible for everyone to be behind him. Going around in circles, there would always be times when he was unlucky and crashed. Accurately calculating the coordinates of each location and developing a perfect route, this work needed time. Gu Fei didn't have the energy right now, and he wasn't familiar with the terrain of Moonlit Night City, so he couldn't use this method for a while. Master, you go first, I'll help you block. The coward's savior had been following Gu Fei 5 meters away. Gu Fei acted like he didn't exist, and this guy didn't say a word. Now that they saw the situation, they immediately became active. To be able to guess my situation and know that those fellows didn't come with good intentions, this fellow isn't that stupid. Gu Fei smiled faintly. When he saw them approaching, he gripped his sword tightly. There were 4 people in total. Looking at the weapons in their hands, they should be 2 thieves and 2 archers. Seeing that Gu Fei had no intention of escaping, the 4 of them slowed down and approached him. Gu Fei took the initiative to greet him and said with a smile, "If you want to earn my PK points, you'll have to bear the consequences." The 4 of them hurriedly waved their hands. "You misunderstand," said the man in front. "We admire you very much, so we want to be friends." As they spoke, the 4 of them put their weapons back into their pockets and spread their hands at Gu Fei, indicating that they had no ill intentions. Gu Fei looked at the 4 of them in confusion, but his feet continued to move quickly. "Let's talk on the way. It's not a good idea to stop in one place like this." The other party expressed his understanding of Gu Fei's situation. Gu Fei didn't say anything. The 4 of them caught up and walked side by side with Gu Fei, but they maintained a certain distance between them. It seemed like they wanted to completely dispel Gu Fei's suspicions. "What do you want from me?" Gu Fei asked as he ran. "Brother, What you did in the city today was really satisfying. The other party said. Oh, how did you know? Gu Fei asked. The news has already spread throughout the city. Mang Mang's face was deathly pale as she stood at the wanted mission area and flipped out. All of us brothers in the city had a great time watching her, the other person said. Gu Fei smiled faintly. What exactly do you want from me? Nothing much. We just want to be friends with you, brother, the other person said. I'm called Yin Zhongmu. What's your name, brother? Gu Fei shook his head and didn't say anything. Brother, it seems like you still don't trust us. Yin Zhongmu laughed bitterly. Brother, with your current situation, you should be more careful. Gu Fei laughed. So let's go our separate ways. As he spoke, Gu Fei prepared to change directions and part ways with the four of them. Brother, wait. Yin Zhongmu caught up again. Is there something else? Gu Fei didn't stop. Actually, I'm from Moonlit Night City's Northern Autumn Guild. To tell you the truth, us small guilds have always been bullied by the previous world's guilds. We've endured it for a long time. We've been planning to band together and teach those bastards from the previous world a lesson. Brother, since you have a grudge against the previous world, why don't you team up with us? Let's teach them a lesson together. Gu Fei's footsteps stopped. That sounds good, he said. Yin Zhongmu nodded. The guild specifically sent me to negotiate with you. These three are representatives from the other three guilds. If the four of us join forces, we can definitely fight against the previous world. If that's the case, what else do you need me to do? Gu Fei asked. Let's be honest. The previous world has always been suppressing us small guilds. If it's not kill stealing, then it's poaching. Even though our four guilds have a lot of people, most of them are normal players. We don't have anyone like you who can fight against 10 people. Having a valiant general like you is a threat to the other side's experts. It's also a great boost to our morale. Yin Zhongmu spoke with a bit of excitement. That makes sense, Gu Fei said. In addition, this is an excellent opportunity, Yin Zhongmu said. Oh. Right now, the entire previous world has received a bounty to look for you. This means that they're all heading towards your coordinates. If that's the case, it'll be very easy to lure them into our ambush, Yin Zhongmu said. Ambush. Gu Fei didn't understand. 100 archers, 100 mages. They're lying in ambush on both sides of Nightsong Valley. As long as you go in that direction, the entire previous world will follow you in. When the time comes, the archers and mages hiding on the two cliffs will attack together. We've already tested it out. The archers and mages can both attack the valley from the two cliffs. They'll be crippled in a single breath. Then the melee classes can rush in and wipe out the remaining members. All the members of the previous world will have their levels reduced by 1. What could be more satisfying than this? Yin Zhongmu was excited. Gu Fei laughed. So you don't need to rely on my strength. You want to use me as bait to lure the previous world into their trap. Yin Zhongmu laughed. If there's such a simple method, then why do we need to take the risk and fight with them? As long as you agree, we'll immediately make arrangements. We'll be done in 15 minutes. Gu Fei sighed. Unfortunately, even if I agree, your method won't work. Yin Zhongmu's expression changed. Why? Gu Fei laughed. 100 archers? 100 mages? If you want to gather these two forces, there's no way you won't leak out. Are you going to notify them in the guild? Or do you want to talk to them one by one? Out of the 200 people you picked, not a single one is a friend of the previous worlds? This is just a game. Gather them all in 15 minutes? That's too easy. Are 200 people all online at your command? Of course not all 200 people are online, but they should be about the same. Maybe 100 people will be enough, Yin Zhongmu said. Gu Fei was still laughing. Alright, stop beating around the bush. Your lie is too big. There are too many loopholes. Brother, what do you mean? Yin Zhongmu was furious. Do you think I'm lying to you? Of course, Gu Fei said. You don't have a plan for 200 people. Fuck, then what's the point of talking so much with you? Here. Gu Fei suddenly took a step to the right, and with a twist of his foot, he swung his sword behind him. There was a scream in the air, and the figure of a thief appeared. He held a dagger in his hand and pointed it in front of him, preparing to use backstab. Hiding behind us and chasing us isn't easy, is it? Gu Fei faintly smiled at this person. He only slashed once before returning his hand. He coldly swept his eyes over the 4 people. No, it should be 5. Let's go. I don't want to increase my PK points. Gu Fei said to the 5 people. The 5 people looked at each other. The thief who had been hit by Gu Fei's sword suddenly went berserk. He continued to stab at Gu Fei while yelling, "Hurry, he doesn't dare, ah!" Before he could finish his sentence, Gu Fei had already fiercely stabbed him again. He then turned around and dodged the stab. With another slash, the thief was finished. I said I don't want to increase my PK points, not that I don't dare. Gu Fei said to the remaining 4 people. Yin Zhongmu's face turned red and white. The other 3 were also at a loss. They didn't know if they should hurry and leave or pull out their weapons to fight. Your non-Lafa's friend? Gu Fei suddenly asked. How did you know? Yin Zhongmu was shocked. Gu Fei laughed. This quest can't be accepted in a party. Those who do it for the quest reward are all alone. You guys ganged up to plot against me. Your goal is clearly to kill me, not to receive the reward. Apart from people from the past world, only non-Laf would have this kind of wish. Seeing how you were gnashing your teeth when you talked about the past world, it seemed quite real. You shouldn't be someone from the past world. So, you can only be non-Lafa's friend. Cloud Midnight could only stare in shock. You guessed it too? I have to hurry. Take me to non-Laf. Gu Fei turned around and ran. An archer stealthily took out his bow, but Yin Zhongmu reached out and stopped him. Don't look to die. What? The thieves hiding behind him all know that this guy definitely has some kind of scouting equipment. Yin Zhongmu said. Then what do we do? Fuck, we can't beat him, so we can only endure. We're being bullied by people from the past world every day. Can't we take this? Yin Zhongmu cursed. Then which side should we support, this person or the past? Support my ass. It's best if they all die. Yin Zhongmu cursed and led the other 3 in the opposite direction. Old Yin, I think your ambush plan at Nightcry Valley was quite interesting, someone suddenly said. Interesting my ass. Where am I going to find 200 people? With 200 people, I'll be standing on rooftops and ambushing people from the past world every day. Yin Zhongmu was indignant. Why don't we cooperate with this guy? Another person suggested. Bullshit. Non-Laf is my brother. This guy killed Non-Laf by level 8, which is the same as killing me by level 8. He wants me to cooperate with him? Dream on. If this goes on, how are we going to survive in Moonlit Night City? Fuck this trash. He killed Non-Laf by level 8, so why did he only kill level 1 when he killed Mang Mang? Be more spirited and kill Mang Mang until she's level 0. This dog. Yin Zhongmu cursed the entire way. Achoo. Gu Fei sneezed in the middle of escaping. Master, you've caught a cold. The coward's savior said from 5 meters away. If you call me master again, I'll really kill you. Gu Fei said angrily. Chapter 81. Cloud City Little Ray's Bar in a private room. Han family young master was playing with a money bag, making clinking sounds as he shook it. I finally have money again. He was filled with emotion. Yutian Shenming stared at the dark red money bag, drooling as he asked, how much is it? In the game, a dark red money bag could only hold 1,000 gold coins. 420 gold coins. Han family young master said proudly. What do you want to drink? It's my treat. Brother Yu was just about to speak when Han family young master coldly glanced at him. You know what you want to drink, right? Of course. Brother Yu smiled, called Little Ray over, and ordered 5 glasses of the cheapest liquor. Where's Sword Demon? Unscathed in battle took the liquor and asked. He's still leveling up. He'll be there in a moment. Han family young master said. TSK. Brother Yu praised. You must have been stimulated by Qianli. Recently, everyone's enthusiasm for leveling up has been very high. Everyone was silent. Gu Fei's level suddenly jumped to 31, which was a big blow to the experts. Have you guys been on the forum recently? Brother Yu suddenly said. What's new? The liquor was already served. Han family young master asked after taking a sip. The biggest guild in Moonlit Night City is currently chasing after Qianli, and they seem to know that he's 27149. Brother, you said. Is this guy a piece of shit? Why does he get stung by a swarm of flies? Han family young master was surprised. As they were talking, the curtain of the private room was lifted, and Sword Demon walked in with a tired face. He collapsed on his seat, looked at the four people and said, I just received a letter from Qianli. Letter? The one you want to get from the mailbox at the city gate? Imperial Sky Shinming asked. Sword Demon nodded. At each of the 4 gates of the town, there was a mailbox. Players could mail letters or items here. Friends who weren't born in the same city would often use this opportunity to help out with money or equipment. It was rare for them to exchange letters. Even though letters allowed you to speak freely without a word limit, in an online game, very few people would write that many words, unless it was a love letter. Thinking of this, everyone looked at the Sword Demon with a strange gaze. Sword Demon took out the letter from his pocket and threw it on the table. Can we? Everyone looked at Xian and asked. Do you two have any secrets? Sword Demon rolled his eyes and was too lazy to answer. Everyone rushed forward to snatch the letter at the same time. In the end, it was Yutian Shenming who was faster. Since the money robbery incident last time, they had worked hard on their reactions in this area. At present, the speed of their nervous reflexes was basically the same. It was just that in the end, when it came to the actual speed of their hands, the agility in the game was naturally the advantage. I'll read it. Yutian Shenming quickly opened the letter. Brother Sword Demon experts, hello everyone. The first paragraph. Picking up the pen, I miss everyone very much. I've been away from Cloud City for, many hours. I'm now in Moonlit City, the main city near Cloud City. It takes 2 hours to cross the Black Dragon Mountain Range to reach here. The PK atmosphere here is strong, the big guilds bully people, and the players' lives are very hard. I completed a chain quest in Luminous Village near Moonlit City, and accidentally leveled up to level 31. I also got 2 pieces of equipment, hee. Damn, this guy is too showy. After a brief comment, Yutian Shenming continued to read. At present, I miss Brother Sword Demon, experts, and Cloud City very much. I can only wait until I clear my PK points and come back to see you again. Goodbye. That's it? Everyone asked. Yutian Shenming nodded. Everyone snatched it again and passed it around one by one, weighing each word carefully. Is this person crazy? He writes this when he has nothing to do, Yutian Shenming said. Han family young master was the last to take the letter, and after a few glances he said, the letter is signed by Qianli Izue, but this letter is actually not sent from his mailbox. Sword Demon nodded. It was sent by someone called Coward Savior. It seems that this guy is trapped. He can't even send his own letter. Han family young master sneered. Is there a place where people are trapped but not dead? Unscathed in battle was puzzled. Safe zone. Everyone in the safe zone who received a wanted mission will be killed. He's obviously not in prison right now, and his level hasn't dropped either. Strange. Brother, you said. Han family young master slowly stood up. Let's go. Where? Everyone asked. Moonlit Night City. Han family young master said. Outside of Moonlit Night City in Silent Night Valley, Gu Fei sat on the ground facing a bonfire, holding a piece of barbecued meat in his hand, eating happily. Coward, your skills aren't bad. What level are you as a chef? Gu Fei asked Coward Savior as he ate. Life skills don't look at level, only proficiency. I haven't been learning for long, around 200 proficiency, Coward Savior said. Oh. Gu Fei didn't know how much proficiency was considered high, so he didn't make any comments. Also, don't call me coward, I call Coward Savior. If you don't call me that, the meaning will change, Coward Savior said. If you don't call me master, then I won't call you coward, Gu Fei said. I stopped calling you that a long time ago, Coward Savior said. Yeah. I'm just calling you back what you called me before, Gu Fei said. He finally found a way to stop Coward Savior from calling him master. Coward Savior wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He could only continue to bury his head in the barbecued meat on the fire rack. Gu Fei was eating when he glanced at the time. He hurriedly stood up, holding the sword in one hand and the barbecued meat in the other. He shouted towards a direction. Chain fireball. After eating a few mouthfuls of meat, a fire dragon rose from the tip of the sword. Release, Gu Fei said as he swallowed the meat. The fire dragon shot out from the tip of the sword and instantly turned into 4 small fireballs, flying towards a certain direction. But there was clearly nothing there. Coward's savior saw this scene, but he seemed to be very used to it and didn't care at all. Just as the 4 fireballs flew out 2 meters, the empty ground became hazy. An NPC monster was spawned and was hit by the fireballs. The monster roared and rushed towards Gu Fei. Fireball shoot. Gu Fei chanted again as he ate meat. A small fireball flew out and blew the monster into nothingness. Amazing, amazing. Coward's savior said a few words of praise. He looked like he was already numb. But if it was any other player in this game, their eyeballs would definitely pop out of their sockets when they saw this scene. Silent Night Valley was a level 50 leveling area, and the monsters were all around level 50. But what about the players at this time? Their levels were all stagnant at level 30. Only a few valiant people had broken through to level 31. Killing monsters 20 levels higher than them was a scene that game designers would cry if they saw it. Yi Xiaowu cried. When he saw Gu Fei leisurely eating meat and killing monsters in Silent Night Valley, tears streamed down his face. This time, it was the monitoring group that was alerted first. They discovered that there was actually someone killing monsters in the supposedly empty level 50 leveling area. They immediately tracked him and found that everything was normal. But this character's high magic attack still attracted attention. After checking Gu Fei's equipment, the monitoring group suspected that someone had opened a back door for Gu Fei, allowing him to have such high-level equipment so early. Yi Xiaowu, who had paid attention to this character many times, naturally attracted everyone's suspicion. After being called to the monitoring group, Yi Xiaowu smiled bitterly and took out the prepared video. This is the entire process of him completing this chain of quests. Take a look and see if there are any violations. A group of people leaned over in front of the video to study it. Damn, I knew something was going to happen. Yi Xiaowu sighed. When Gu Fei completed the chain of quests and obtained the Moonlight Spirit Robe and Night Streamer Sword, Yi Xiaowu had expected this to cause a stir. It was just that he realized that Gu Fei didn't seem to like using spells, and always used a sword to hack and kill, so he was hoping for a fluke. Who knew why this guy suddenly became enlightened and used spells to fight? After understanding Gu Fei's situation, Yi Xiaowu could only smile bitterly. High-level equipment allowed Gu Fei to have the magic attack to kill monsters above his level. Putting all his points into dexterity, and his own skills allowed him to dodge monsters' attacks with ease. Imagine a level 50 thief. If they put all their dexterity and strength into it, at most they would be faster than Gu Fei, but their attack would not be as good. This way, they could face level 50 monsters, so why couldn't the current Gu Fei? Mages had the lowest HP and defense, so having the strongest AoE damage was the compensation for this class. Currently, Gu Fei hadn't used the biggest advantage of being a mage yet. Yi Xiaowu looked at his data and knew that this guy hadn't even learned the level 24 Falling Flame Wheel. Otherwise, if he were to burn in this level 50 leveling area, all the players in the parallel world wouldn't be able to match his leveling speed. But now, it seemed that this guy was only using the 2 offensive spells he knew to clear the few monsters around him. He was just using the high levels of the monsters in Silent Night Valley to avoid the players chasing him and wash away his PK points. What else could Yi Xiaowu do other than smile bitterly? Speaking of which, this guy's spell casting technique was also unparalleled, especially when it came to timing. This was comparable to an expert priest who was best at timing. In the game, Gu Fei was also bragging to the coward savior. Timing. Do you know what timing is? The most important thing in hidden weapons is to grasp the timing. What's so difficult about placing a dead stake there and hitting it? In a real battle, which opponent will be like a stake that doesn't move and let you hit it? To deal with a moving target, you must grasp the timing, calculate the target's movement speed, and find his next foothold. Only then can the hidden weapon be shot out accurately. Of course, if it's an experienced opponent, he will keep changing his movement speed. So, it's very difficult to hit where you want to point. This requires you to improve your wrist strength, finger strength, and speed up your hidden weapon release. When the speed reaches a certain level, the opponent's change in speed will be negligible. Do you understand? Yes, yes. The coward's savior replied in fear and trepidation. Gu Fei was overjoyed. He didn't expect there to be someone so interested in kung fu in the game. After talking for so long, his mouth was a little dry. Let's take a break. If there's nothing to do, who should I write a letter to? Gu Fei pondered. Chapter 82. The members of the Parallel World Monitoring Group were repeatedly studying the video of Gu Fei completing the mission chain. The video of the battle with Suatu when he first accepted the mission was already lost. At that time, Yi Xiaowu hadn't looked at Gu Fei in a new light. Here, the video froze. The member of the monitoring group pointed at Gu Fei and Little Rain in front of the church and asked Yi Xiaowu, "What did he find here?" Then he went to look for Murphy? Yi Xiaowu shook his head. "I don't know. What should we do if we find clues from here?" The member of the monitoring group didn't know the specifics of the mission chain. A high-level pharmacologist can find out from the traces of Murphy's blood on the ground that it's not human blood, Yi Xiaowu said. He doesn't seem to have done that, the member of the monitoring group said. He didn't. Yi Xiaowu nodded. Other than that, are there any other suspicious points? Everyone discussed. No, the data is all normal, including the last battle with the boss. We can only say that this person is too skilled. Someone reported. Then how do you explain this suspicious point? The member of the monitoring group looked at Yi Xiaowu. Yi Xiaowu spread his hands. Probably luck. There's no need for any reason. It's possible that he wanted to know about the deceased Murphy's situation. The monitoring group watched the video 5 more times and didn't find anything against the rules. The only thing worth suspecting was whether the relevant personnel had given him a hint about the mission. Everyone looked at Yi Xiaowu. Yi Xiaowu's expression was relaxed. He didn't feel any burden at all. At most, he had let it slip that the mission was in Luminous Village, but this was something that Eddie would have said when he gave the mission. It was just that Gu Fei didn't pay attention at the time, so there was no way to investigate later. What exactly did Gu Fei find in the church? Yi Xiaowu wanted to know more than anyone else. The monitoring group paid attention to evidence and wouldn't wrongly accuse the players in the game. Of course, they wouldn't come to a conclusion about Yi Xiaowu so easily. In the end, they just asked, the 2 pieces of equipment he got, according to their levels, what level are they? Around level 70, Yi Xiaowu said. Everyone was silent. Shi Feng had obtained a piece of level 70 equipment at level 30. Moreover, he could even use it to his full potential. It was not difficult to understand why he could easily deal with level 50 monsters. So this is a level 70 quest chain? However, it was completed by a LV30 player. The supervisory team's meaning was obvious. The difficulty of this quest chain was somewhat unbalanced. Our quest chain was designed with the abilities of normal players in mind. Here, do you think any random player can stop the boss from using the Wolf King's Fang? Don't even talk about level 30. Even if you took a level 70 account, you might not be able to do it. Some people aren't ordinary people. They can do things that ordinary people can't. Are you saying that our mission difficulty should be based on this kind of superhuman? Yi Xiaowu retorted, pointing at the scene of Gu Fei's battle with Adrian. Everyone fell silent. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Yi Xiaowu left. It was very strange. He had also wholeheartedly hoped that this Qianli would get drunk, but at this time, why did he have a kind of expectation for this character? In the game, at the entrance of the Silent Night Valley outside of Moonlit Night City, a group of Bygone Dust Guild players seemed to be at their wits' end. The leader, Boundless Mang, seemed to be extremely irritated. Not too far from the entrance, there were many other players. They pretended to take care of the sparse monsters around them while looking over. Seeing that Bygone Dust Guild was embarrassed, everyone was secretly happy. Everyone cooperated very well. A level 22 monster was chased by 5 people, but it escaped many times due to negligence in 5 minutes. Even thieves can't sneak in? Boundless Mang asked the people around him. A thief shook his head. No, the monsters here are too high-leveled. They can easily see through our stealth. 4 of our brothers have already died. You didn't even see that guy's shadow? Boundless Mang asked. Nope. The thief sighed. The people from Bygone Dust Guild followed the coordinates all the way here. At first, no one believed that Gu Fei would enter the Silent Night Valley. However, after circling around the valley and almost confirming all the surrounding coordinates, they could only helplessly accept this fact. Gu Fei's coordinates were indeed pointing straight into the valley. Bygone Dust tried to organize a team of various classes, but they could not take more than a few steps in. The monsters were too strong. The players' attack power was very insignificant, and their defense was too weak. The clerics were risking their lives on the side, and it required 2 or 3 clerics to take care of one person. This kind of fighting method could barely clear the monsters around them, but the consumption of HP and mana was too high, and there was no time to recover. If they encountered a slightly more concentrated area of monsters, what awaited them was a team wipe. They had just formed another thief team, trying to rely on stealth to find Gu Fei, who knew that the monsters here with high perception could see through the thieves' stealth. Without the help of the clerics, the thieves were extremely vulnerable. 4 died on the spot, and the rest had to use swift movement to escape. Boundless Mang was going crazy. He's a mage, how is he alive in there? No one could answer this question. No one knew that Gu Fei, as a mage, had the strength of a level 50. It could even be said that he was stronger. A level 50 mage would never have Gu Fei's speed, but their magic attack power was comparable. In the Silent Night Valley, Gu Fei was asking the coward's savior, "When you came in, there were a lot of people outside the valley?" The coward's savior nodded. "A lot. Why didn't they make things difficult for you?" Gu Fei wondered. "I covered my face," the coward's savior said. "A lot of people outside covered their faces. The people who came to kill you all covered their faces. Oh, they were afraid of my revenge." Gu Fei smiled bitterly. It seemed that his image in this game had been fixed. "They didn't stop you when you came in?" Gu Fei asked. "Why would they stop me? They all thought I was going to die," the coward's savior said. "In the end," he said with lingering fear, "if you didn't come to help me, I really would have died." Well said, well said. Gu Fei said. "Look, I wrote another letter. Come, I'll send you out." Before he could hand it over to the coward's savior, Gu Fei reacted first. "No, now that you're going out in one piece, they'll definitely be suspicious." Yes, they were suspicious the first time I went out. I pretended not to know that this was a level 50 leveling area and looked scared. The coward's savior said. "You're pretty smart." Gu Fei laughed. After that, he added the coward's savior as a friend. "This is me." The coward's savior was so excited that he was at a loss. He just repeatedly muttered, "Great, great." Seeing him like this, Gu Fei felt a little embarrassed. This coward's savior, other than being a little annoying, was pretty good, especially since he seemed to be really interested in Kung Fu. "Have you really learned the Mantis Fist?" Gu Fei asked. "I've studied it." The coward's savior said. "How did you study it?" Gu Fei asked. "Reading books." The coward's savior said. "Oh." Gu Fei was relieved. "No wonder you don't know footwork. Most published boxing manuals don't teach footwork." "Heh, learning Kung Fu that way is similar to broadcasting gymnastics. Can you teach me?" The coward's savior looked expectant. I'm not very knowledgeable about the 7-sided Mantis Fist. I'm practicing the 6-sided Mantis Fist, which is quite different from your 7-sided Mantis Fist. I see that your stance already has some foundation, and it's too difficult to practice the 6-sided Mantis Fist. Wait for me to go back and study the 7-sided Mantis Fist, then I'll teach you," Gu Fei said. "Thank you. Thank you so much." The coward's savior nodded and bowed. "You really like Kung Fu that much?" Gu Fei also liked Kung Fu, and he didn't hide it, but compared to the coward's savior, Gu Fei suddenly realized that he was very reserved. With Kung Fu there are no cowards. The coward's savior clenched his fist. Gu Fei smiled. When talking about Kung Fu he became more talkative. While dealing with the monsters that spawned around him from time to time, he talked nonstop with the coward's savior. The coward's savior also realized that Gu Fei was really a professional player, and couldn't help but be curious. Then why did you choose to be a mage in game? Without waiting for Gu Fei to answer, he came to a realization. Oh, I understand. It's for better cultivation, right? Gu Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the game, you can accumulate some combat experience, but in reality, the NPC monsters' attacks are mechanical, and most players don't understand Kung Fu. Whether it's fighting monsters or PK, the experience is better than nothing. I came to the game to find a place where I can show off my skills. If I can find a way to improve my Kung Fu, then it'll be an extra reward. Then have you found it? The coward's savior asked. Gu Fei nodded. A little. For example, the control of strength, the judgment of attack direction, the grasp of attack timing, the choice of attack route, and so on. However, I still need to master these things myself. The game is very different from reality. Because of the difference in professions and point-adding methods, the difference in speed, strength, and even vitality between people is very large. This is impossible in reality. If you want to kill someone in the game, a normal thief needs 3 or 4 strikes. In reality, 1 move is enough. After Gu Fei said this, he jumped in fright. He didn't think that after he finished playing the game and connected to reality, he had already started researching ways to kill people. It seemed like killing people in the game had aroused his murderous nature. The coward's savior clearly didn't think that deeply. He only listened to Gu Fei and nodded. Then the tricks I learned in the game might not be useful in real life? Gu Fei nodded. The most important thing is that your speed and strength in the game are completely different from in real life. If you really want to use the game to improve your Kung Fu, then you should first add points in the direction of your real Kung Fu. Is that what you're doing? The coward's savior asked. Me. Gu Fei laughed. You're confused. When I came to the game, using Kung Fu is my #1 priority. Training is secondary. I only need to add points to be able to display all of my Kung Fu. I don't need to be so demanding. And I've discovered that magic can also be used as a type of Kung Fu. Chapter 83. Gu Fei and the coward's savior discuss martial arts in Silent Night Valley. Time passed bit by bit, and the players outside of the valley were starting to get impatient. Those that were there to watch the fun, or those that had accepted the quest, had all returned to the city. The only ones left were the people from previous world and Non-Smiler's friend, Cloud Twilight. Cloud Twilight and a few of his brothers were still pretending to fight monsters nearby. Old Cloud, should we go back too? One of the brothers said. The entrance to Silent Night Valley wasn't much of a leveling area. Even though the levels were moderate, the monsters were few and sparse. It was clearly not designed to be a leveling area. Don't. Cloud Twilight looked at the people from previous world and said, just looking at those bastards from previous world makes me feel good. You guys go back first. Let me enjoy myself a bit more. Be careful, Boundless Mang might be in a bad mood and cause trouble for you. One of them said. Don't worry. Cloud Twilight laughed. Non-Smiler's dagger is with me. I can use vanish. If the people from previous world come over, I'll just vanish for them. Non-Smiler's wind whisper? Why do you have it? One of them said in shock. He's scared of being killed, and is afraid of losing his equipment, so he sent it over for me to play with. Cloud Twilight said. Oh, then enjoy yourself. We'll be leaving first. The brothers left. Cloud Twilight waved his dagger, and continued to kill monsters while observing the people from previous world. Mang, how about we leave first? Lonnie saw that there were a lot of people and couldn't stay any longer. How long has it been? Boundless Mang asked. Almost 4 hours. Lonnie looked at the time and then looked at the quest. His PK value has already dropped to 9. It was originally 11. Alright, let's leave first. We won't waste anyone's time. Boundless Mang sighed. What about you? Lonnie asked. I'll stay here and wait for that guy to come out. Boundless Mang said fiercely. How can that be? Lonnie jumped in fright. If he comes out, 1 or 2 people won't be able to stop him. Let's leave a thief here. When you see him come out, hide and report. There's no point in hiding. He has scouting equipment. Boundless Mang said. I'll stay. I'm level 29 now anyway. It won't be a big deal if he kills me again. All of you leave. Do you want me to stay and accompany you? Lonnie said. Go go go. The vast expanse of grass chased everyone away. I'll call you if there's anything. Then let's find a place nearby to level up. As Lonnie spoke, he led the group of people he usually trained with and left. The others also dispersed. Dazzling Mang straightened his clothes and waved his staff to kill monsters in the surroundings. She was an intelligence-type priest. Her holy light orb had some attack power, and its casting speed was very fast. It was not a problem for her to deal with these scattered monsters. Not far away, Yun Zanmu's heart was pounding. A chance. The people from the Bygone Dust Guild had all left, leaving only this woman behind. Wasn't this a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? This woman was too amazing. Did she really think that no one would dare to kill her? Everyone in Moonlit City knew that as long as you covered your face, no one would know who you were after you killed them. Cloud Zanmu's heart was pounding. He finally made his decision. Gritting his teeth, he activated the thief skill, Stealth. Priest's movement speed was extremely slow. If a thief wanted to kill her, she wouldn't be able to dodge even if they ran over and stabbed her. Even if the opponent risked their lives to heal her, there would always be a way out. This was why priests didn't have the strength to solo any class. Dusk in the clouds moved stealthily, slowly approaching, sizing up his surroundings. He saw a few people walking over, but they definitely weren't from the Bygone Dust Guild. The people from the Bygone Dust Guild had all been escorted away by his gaze. This was a great opportunity. Cloud Zanmu gulped and quietly arrived behind the vast expanse of grass. Backstab. Cloud Zanmu successfully stabbed him with his sword. Dazzling Mang was in pain. Naturally, she was shocked. However, as an experienced priest, she wasn't in a hurry to see who was attacking her from behind. Instead, she immediately cast heal on herself. However, Dazzling Mang's heal was a step too slow. Another heal fell on her before she could react. Cloud Zanmu was also an experienced player. When he cast 2 heal spells on Dazzling Mang, he immediately sensed that someone had come to his aid. He turned around and saw that one of them was currently raising his arm. It was a priest casting heal. Cloud Zanmu was furious. Dazzling Mang was notorious in Moonlit City. I'm doing this for the sake of the people. Not only did they refuse to help, but they were also causing trouble from the sidelines. Who was this blind? Cloud Zanmu suspected that the other side didn't know that this woman was Dazzling Mang. Otherwise, as a player of Moonlit City, they definitely wouldn't be unable to differentiate between good and evil. Just as he was about to introduce Dazzling Mang's identity, there was a flash in front of him. A swift arrow had already shot him to the ground. You bastard! Cloud Zanmu cursed. This sniper shot was so powerful that it had almost killed him instantly. At this moment, Dazzling Mang had already turned around. She chanted and summoned a holy light orb. Cloud Zanmu wanted to use Vanish, but it was useless. Vanish didn't mean he was invisible. Dazzling Mang was so close to him that the holy light orb would hit him before he could vanish. Cloud Zanmu could only close his eyes and wait for death. Unexpectedly, another heal landed on Cloud Zanmu's body. The holy light orb's damage was insignificant compared to the heal. Cloud Zanmu wasn't glad that he was saved. Instead, he was surprised. This priest is so fast. His heal actually arrived before Dazzling Mang's holy light orb. Dazzling Mang is already an intelligence and spirit priest. Is this priest full of spirit? Looking at the newcomer, Cloud Zanmu froze. Damn, why is it another bitch? When the newcomer got closer, Cloud Zanmu finally saw her clearly. He couldn't help but sigh. Damn, this guy looks too much like a bitch. First, he saved himself, then he saved his opponent. Dazzling Mang was a bit confused. He wanted to continue attacking, but Cloud Zanmu had already activated Vanish. Dazzling Mang didn't know where he was. He was on guard while paying attention to the people coming over. There were 5 people in total. Looking at their equipment, there was a thief, a priest, a warrior, an archer, and a knight. This didn't seem like a leveling party. No leveling party would have such a balanced composition. Moreover, their leveling party didn't have a mage with large AoE firepower. This was almost impossible. They had already reached him. The knight pointed at Silent Night Valley and asked Dazzling Mang, "Miss, where is this?" "Silent Night Valley," Dazzling Mang replied. "This is the place?" The archer was confused. "Are you questioning my ability to determine the coordinates?" The priest replied coldly. These weirdos had saved him, and then saved that guy. Now that they were right in front of him, they wouldn't say anything? Dazzling Mang felt that he was a bit confused. Cloud Zanmu, who was hiding in stealth, was also very confused. However, after hearing those guys question, they didn't know where this place was. There was only one explanation. Outsiders. "Miss, is this a high-level leveling area?" The knight asked Dazzling Mang again. Dazzling Mang nodded. "The valley is level 50. The knight nodded. Everyone reached out to the archer. "Take out the money." The archer's face was deathly pale. He trembled as he took out a money pouch from his pocket. He counted out 40 gold coins and divided them into 4 portions. These 5 people were naturally the guys from the child elite group. Before coming, they had made a bet. Since Gu Fei was being chased, but his coordinates hadn't changed, the 4 guessed that Gu Fei was hiding in a high-level leveling area, making it impossible for normal people to approach. Only Yu Tianshiming thought that Gu Fei had used the same method as last time and found a cave to hide. In the end, no. Yu Tianshiming, who had already divided the money, suddenly put the money back into the money pouch. "I still haven't seen him. Maybe there's a cave in this valley." "Impossible," Han Family Young Master said decisively. "The big map shares the same coordinate axis. Therefore, only the coordinates of Cloud City will overlap with the coordinates of the cave. With such a large number of coordinates here, this kind of phenomenon can't happen. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Yu Tianshiming was astonished. "Nonsense, I already said how to earn your 10 gold coins. Stop talking nonsense and take out the money," Han Family Young Master said. Yu Tianshiming looked at the other 3. They all looked away numbly. It was very obvious that they already knew about this situation. "You bunch of scum." Yu Tianshiming angrily counted out the gold coins again. "Brother, you patted him. Study hard. As an expert, you're blind. You'll be a joke if others know." It was too late for Yu Tianshiming to regret. Then what next? Do we go in or call him out? Unscathed in Battle asked. "Can we go in?" Sword Demon looked at the entrance of the level 50 training area and was eager to try. In his mind, as long as Gu Fei could do it, he hoped that he could do it. Sword Demon himself didn't realize that his initial feeling of competing with Gu Fei had unknowingly been replaced by the feeling of, if he can do it, so can I. "Isn't there a lot of people chasing after us? Why can't I see anyone around?" "Brother, you looked around." "I'm not a person." Boundless Mang was unhappy to hear this. "Brother, you smiled and didn't say anything. This girl was just a cleric. Would there be a cleric chasing after them alone?" Boundless Mang had already heard some clues from their unconcealed conversation. "You came from Cloud City to chase after a close combat mage?" The 5 people were all startled. "What's your name, girl?" "Brother, you asked." "My name is Boundless Mang." Boundless Mang replied. "What are you doing here?" "Brother, you asked in a questioning tone." "I'm waiting for that guy to come out." Boundless Mang gritted her teeth. Anyone could hear her intentions. The 5 people were expressionless. "Kill him?" Yu Tianshiming asked in the mercenary channel. Chapter 84. Although a lot of things had happened, it hadn't even been 24 hours since Gu Fei left Cloud City. Yu Tianshiming asked in the mercenary channel. "Kill him?" The first to respond was actually Gu Fei. "Kill what? He must be very free." The 5 mumbled. "Vastmang, do you know this girl?" Yu Tianshiming asked Gu Fei in the mercenary channel. "You guys know her?" Gu Fei was very surprised. "You know her?" "Nope. I just slashed her," Gu Fei said. "Too vicious." Everyone sighed. "She's quite a pretty girl. How could you do it?" The biggest guild in Moonlit Night City is called Past Dust. The guild leader is called Silver Moon. This girl is his wife. Gu Fei briefly introduced the background. Oh, you know quite a lot. You're quite similar to me in the past. Brother, you praised. Not at all. I just slashed them all. Gu Fei was humble. Everyone. The young master of the Han family cleared his throat and asked with a smile on his face, We're here to find him. It looks like you're preparing to kill him? The mercenary group looked at Han family young master's smile and felt a chill in their hearts. This guy rarely smiled. It was said that there were only 2 reasons why he smiled so peacefully. One was that he was going to trick someone. The other was that he drank too much. It took them more than 3 hours to reach this place from Cloud City. Even if he drank too much, he should be awake by now. The conclusion could only be the former. Vast Mang was going to be unlucky, they thought. But they didn't know what Han family young master was going to do this time. Yes. Vast Mang had already answered Han family young master's question. But you're alone? And a priest? Han family young master said. That person is very vicious. He's worse than a beast. It was too fake. The bystanders thought to themselves. She clearly knew that she was the wife of the guild leader of the largest guild. Yet she still pretended to be concerned. Haha. Vast Mang laughed. It's not just one person. Our guild members are all nearby. Really? Han family young master continued to smile hypocritically. It was really dangerous just now. Too shameless. Everyone thought that at this moment, they were harboring evil intentions. They immediately began to change the topic to the hero saving the damsel in distress, trying to establish a relationship. As expected, the vast expanse expressed its gratitude to the Han family young master for saving them in time. You are a clergyman too, she said. As the 2 of them spoke, they went to the side to discuss their experiences as clerics, leaving the other 4 to the side. What are your thoughts? Brother, you asked everyone. I hope that the thief who was in stealth just now will appear again and stab this adulterous couple to death. Let's not help anyone. Let them heal each other, said Yutian Shenming. 5 minutes had passed. Why hasn't he appeared yet? I'm dying of impatience, said Yutian Shenming. How about I go? Sword Demon pretended to go in stealth. Forget it. The experienced and prudent unscathed in battle pulled back the hot-blooded youngsters. Han family young master and Vast Mang had talked enough about the cleric's past, and now they talked about the current situation. What grudge do you guys have with that person? Vast Mang asked. We are a mercenary group. Someone paid us a high price to kill him, said Han family young master. What's your name? Vast Mang asked. Han family young master. Han family young master introduced himself and then pointed at the other 4. These are my underlings. Sword Demon wanted to go up, but was pulled back by unscathed in battle with his strength advantage. Yutian Shenming wanted to shoot an arrow, but was also seen through by Brother Yu. Not bad, you're all quite spirited. Vast Mang praised the 4 of them. So, still passable. The Han family's young master said. Another round of 2 versus 2 struggle. Actually, it's not a good idea to wait here. Han family young master finally started to get down to business. Oh, a level 50 training area. I think you guys have already tried, but there's no way to enter, right? Han family young master said. Vast Mang nodded. This guy is hiding here. His goal is obviously to wash away his PK points. Right now he still has 9 points. So he still needs 18 hours. Are you prepared to wait here for 18 hours? Han family young master said. I think he'll be tired. You know, this is a level 50 training area. No matter how strong he is, it'll be tough for him, right? Vast Mang said. Tianli, are you tired? Yutian Shenming asked in the mercenary channel. Tired? How could I be tired? I'm roasting meat right now. It smells really good. Gu Fei said. The few of them felt sad for Vast Mang. I really want to see her wait here for 18 hours and see Qianli licking his fingers as he walks out of the valley. Yutian Shenming said quietly. On the other side, Han family young master was still helping Vast Mang. Even if he's tired, where can he go after leaving the valley? Go back to the city and log off. Vast Mang also thought of this. That's right, Han family young master said. But if he walks out of the valley and sees you here, what will he do? He'll probably come up and kill me, Vastmang said. Han family young master nodded his head. After killing you, he'll quickly return to the valley, because he knows that it won't be just a cleric ambushing him here. There will definitely be more people waiting for him outside. Then what should we do? Vastmang said. Retreat, leave the valley a few hundred meters away, and arrange for people to be on the way back to the city. Try to find unfamiliar faces that he hasn't seen before, and don't wear guild badges, Han family young master said. There don't seem to be any leveling areas on the way to the city, so it won't be easy to arrange for people. Vastmang said. What does that matter? Han family young master smiled. As long as he sees that there aren't any ambushes outside the valley, he can boldly walk out and immediately call for people to block the entrance. As long as he can't return to the valley, the coordinates refresh every 5 minutes. There's still a few hours left. Where can he go? Oh right. There's also the coordinates refresh. How did I forget about that? Vastmang slapped his head and embarrassedly explained to Han family young master. His coordinates haven't changed for a long time. I almost forgot about it. Han family young master smiled. It's not too late to remember now. Then let's do it, Vastmang said. Thank you for your help. Not at all, our goal is the same, Han family young master said. Oh right, what level do you need to kill him to? Vastmang asked. Very flexible, we'll give you money for every level we kill, Han family young master said. Then you've earned big, Vastmang laughed. We'll definitely clear his name. That's great, Han family young master said. Not long after, Lon Yi and the other former Dust Guild members rushed to the entrance of Silent Night Valley from all directions. What's wrong, Mang? Lonnie rushed over and asked. We can't keep waiting like this. As Mang spoke, he explained the plan that young Master Han had proposed to everyone. Which one of you hasn't met that guy before? When you hear the signal, quickly rush to intercept him. The others, after he leaves the valley entrance, come and occupy this place. Wait! Han family young master suddenly interrupted. What is it? Vastmang looked at him. Did all of your people take the wanted mission? Han family young master gestured with his hands. Of course, Vastmang said. Han family young master smiled bitterly. If they took the wanted mission, then we'll just send him to jail. How can we make him drop his level? Vastmang patted his head. I forgot about this too. How annoying, I was too impatient. About this, maybe some of them had wanted missions on them, so they didn't take it, Lonnie said. Who didn't take the wanted mission? Vastmang shouted. No one actually responded. The Qianchen Guild was really too united. Those who didn't take the mission at the start all hurried to complete the mission on hand, and then went back to take the 27149. From then until now, 3 hours had passed. No one was still carrying the original mission. Everyone had all changed to 27149. Everyone really did their best for the guild. And the wanted mission couldn't be cancelled. It would only be cancelled if the target was cleared of PK, or sent to jail. This was the system's rule. Is there anyone who just came online? Vastmang said in despair. Just a few people. I'm afraid they won't be able to deal with this guy. Han family young master said. With the help of other people who had missions, it really wasn't easy to deal with him. It would be very easy to beat him to jail. Then what should we do? Vastmang said. Han family young master sighed deeply. Originally we just wanted to slack off, but now it seems like we still have to take action. Han family young master looked depressed. You guys? I'm the only one who took the mission. Coincidentally, I'm a priest, so I won't attack. Han family young master said. Look at him, this is called professionalism. We need to learn more. Vastmang lectured the guild members. Then the mission to seal the valley entrance will be handed over to you guys. We'll chase and kill him, how about that? Han family young master said. That's great. Vastmang nodded. Your people, if you see him, don't attack him. Maybe he's already been crippled by us. Be careful not to kill him. Han family young master said. Boundless Mang Mang immediately gave the order. Oh right, we should also find people to block the dungeon. We can't give him a chance to turn himself in. Han family young master said. If we wait for him to come out of jail, where can we find him without a name? Now that we can get his coordinates, it's really too convenient. Vast Mang nodded and immediately assigned some people. The target's coordinates are starting to move. You guys immediately go block the dungeon entrance. There's no need to fight with him. Warriors can hold him off and priests can heal him. Everyone nodded. Did you miss anything? Han family young master thought. Lonnie raised his hand. I did. Speak. Can I ask who you are? Lonnie said. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. The one who spoke was Vast Mang. This is the Han family young master and his underlings who specially came from Cloud City to kill that guy. Underlings. The four people clashed for the third time. Chapter 85. The members of the former Dust Guild began to perform their duties according to the Han family young master's arrangements. According to the Han family young master's arrangements, everyone didn't need to be so nervous at all times. They only needed to wait for the coordinates of 27,179 to start moving. Then they could take their time and start moving. They couldn't move too quickly, that would alert the enemy. Once 27149 was far away from Silent Night Valley, they could block the entrance of the valley unhurriedly. The most important thing to pay attention to was, don't attack 27149. Even if you bumped into him on the road, you had to apologize and walk away as if nothing had happened. We have to make him think that he's already very safe. By creating this kind of atmosphere, we're already halfway to success. Han family young master said. Everyone in the former Dust was deeply impressed. Lon E. Boundless Mang, these people with real power in the guild, even had the idea of pulling him into their group. This is a battle of attrition. Han family young master said. Although we can kill him 2 levels today, I think he'll immediately go offline once he dies and returns to the safe zone. So we need someone to keep an eye on whether he's online or not. That's right. We should also keep someone at the wanted mission distribution office. We can't give him a chance to turn himself in. Also, if we want to make sure that he doesn't drop 1 level, it's best to find someone to block the entrances of the safe zones. I think you guys should know that this guy's speed is quite fast. Yes. Boundless Mang immediately assigned some people to be in charge of the various defensive issues. Is your manpower okay? Han family young master asked. Ugh, more or less. Boundless Mang replied. In reality, it was a bit tight to distribute manpower like this. Silent Night Valley, Dungeon, Wanted Mission Distribution Office, plus the 7 safe zones of the 7 major classes. A total of 10 places. The key was that they couldn't fight back, which was a bit annoying. Don't worry, this is all just in case. Even if he can escape and run to the safe zone, we'll follow closely behind. Your people just need to hold him back for a bit. I think it shouldn't be a problem. Han family young master said. Yes, it shouldn't be a problem. Boundless Mang nodded. Then I'll leave it to you to make the arrangements. Leave the pursuit to us. As long as he can't hide in these places, he's definitely dead. We're professionals. Han family young master smiled. Thank you. It's all thanks to you guys this time. Boundless Mang looked very touched. Of course not. Han family young master looked very calm. Since that's the case, we'll leave first. When his coordinates start to move, you guys set up the defenses in these few places, then send me a message. We'll start chasing after him. No problem. He shook hands with the Han family young master in the vast wilderness. Happy working with you. It's a pleasure working with you. Han family young master revealed his gentle smile for the last time. Then everyone went their separate ways. Sword Demon and the other 3 were still standing at the side with dark faces. Let's go too. Han family young master said. Just as Yutian Shunming was about to say something, Sword Demon patted him and said in the mercenary channel, don't talk nonsense. What? Yutian Shunming didn't understand. I saw a thief enter stealth mode just now. Maybe he's staying beside us and wants to hear what we have to say. Sword Demon said. Oh. Yutian Shunming was relieved. He immediately changed his expression and said in high spirits, "All right, now that guy is dead for sure. Ha 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 ha. Don't be so loud. That's too much. Brother, you criticized in the mercenary channel." Sword Demon wiped the dagger in his hand and said with a murderous aura, "That's right. He's dead for sure. Yes, Sword Demon's performance is not too bad. It's just right. Brother, you commented." In the end, he didn't forget to add on, "I didn't expect to meet such a big guild to help us. This saves us a lot of trouble. Foolproof." Unscathed in battle said simply. Han family young master nodded his head. "Let's find a place to level up." The 5 of them left. On the former Dust Guild side, Boundless Mang asked the thieves that were left behind, "Did they say anything?" "They think that this plan is foolproof," the thief reported. Boundless Mang let out a sigh of relief and completely gave up on his last bit of doubt. He said to Lonnie beside him, "It seems like these people can be trusted." Lonnie nodded his head. "I found someone to appraise their equipment. In our guild, they're definitely top-notch. Their strength shouldn't be a problem. Let's see if we can get a meeting after we deal with this." Boundless Mang said. "Yes, let's wait for the guild leader to come out and discuss." Lonnie said. Former Dust Guild leader Silvermoon was still in prison and wouldn't be out for another 4 hours. This idiot. When Silvermoon was mentioned, Boundless Mang's eyes revealed a rare gentleness. "Let me distribute the people." Lonnie calculated. Right now there are 346 people online. 30 people at each of the 9 locations in the city should be enough. The entrance to the valley is bigger, so there should be more people. The rest will stay here. Boundless Mang nodded his head. "Remember to have a priest at each location. This is the key." "Of course." Lonnie nodded his head. Han family young masters group was already a few hundred meters away from Silent Night Valley. The 5 of them who had just arrived didn't know where to go to level up. "Are there any more thieves following us?" Yutian Shunming asked in the mercenary channel. "I don't know. It would be great if Qianli was here." Sword Demon couldn't forget about Gu Fei's ability to see through thieves' stealth, or it could be said that he was still brooding over it. "What's the matter? What's the matter?" Gu Fei's shout immediately came from the mercenary channel. He saw their conversation, but he didn't know what was going on, so he didn't interrupt. Now that he was mentioned, he couldn't help but ask. "Don't worry. You can leave Silent Night Valley as you please. No one will care about you." Han family young master said calmly. "What's going on? How did you know I was in Silent Night Valley?" Gu Fei was curious. "You guys came to Moonlit Night City?" "That's right. We're also trying to solve your current crisis." Han family young master said. "Oh, what's your plan?" Gu Fei asked. "Take drastic measures." Han family young master said. "What do you mean?" Gu Fei asked. "The people who are looking for trouble are mainly from the former Dust Guild. So, if we destroy the former Dust Guild, wouldn't the problem be solved?" Han family young master said easily. "I admire your boldness. Then I'll wait for the good news of your victory," Gu Fei said. "What should we do?" Yutian Shunming asked. "Let's find a place where we can discuss things peacefully. Not as noisy as a tavern. It's best if it's a private house," Han family young master said. "I know someone. You guys go find her. She can provide a place like this," Gu Fei said. "She's called Wuxia." "Okay, let's split up. Sword Ghost, swing your tail and find Wuxia. We'll proceed with the next step," Han Clan's young master said. The 5 of them went their separate ways. Sword Demon used the level 30 thief skill, Swift Step, to run. A thief's stealth state couldn't catch up to a thief's swift step. Gu Fei added Wuxia as a friend. "It's me. Level 31 mage." Seeing this message, Wuxia already guessed who it was. "Ah. It's you. I was just about to find you. Don't leave Silent Night Valley. There are 5 people coming from Cloud City to kill you. They're currently in the middle of nowhere. There's no one outside Silent Night Valley, but I think they must have set up some sort of trap. I wanted to eavesdrop, but there were too many people and I couldn't get close to them," Wuxia said anxiously. Gu Fei had already guessed who the 5 people from Cloud City was. He faintly smiled. Don't worry, I also have friends coming over to help. They want to borrow your house to discuss something. Is that okay? Of course not, Wuxia said. Okay. A thief called Sword Demon will contact you, Gu Fei said. Sword Demon? Is it the Sword Demon from Demon Realm? Wuxia was shocked. It's him. You know him? A famous person. How could I not know? I didn't think I'd have the chance to meet him. Wuxia said. Don't have too high of an expectation. He's already disappointed countless people. Gu Fei said. I've heard. I heard he's ugly. Hee, that's nothing. I'll go to the house and wait for him, Wuxia said. Gu Fei relayed this to Sword Demon. The Sword Ghost arrived at Moonlit Night City at the fastest speed possible and asked for the coordinates of Wuxia's house. But before that, Sword Demon still needed to see someone. Outside the Thief Guild in Moonlit Night City, Sword Demon walked towards a thief who was looking around. Yin Zhongmu? Hello, I'm Sword Demon. Sword Demon extended his right hand. Yin Zhongmu was startled. He already recognized Sword Demon as one of the 5 people who stopped him from killing Mang Mang outside Silent Night Valley. He naturally didn't have a good impression of him. He ignored his extended right hand and asked with a frown. So it's you. Why are you looking for me? We have a big plan. I think you'll be interested, Sword Demon said. Oh, what is it? Yin Zhongmu was startled. Let's find a place to talk. Follow me. Sword Demon led the way. How do you know I'm called Yin Zhongmu? Yin Zhongmu followed and asked curiously. I asked a friend, Sword Demon said. How? Yin Zhongmu didn't understand. I haven't heard of a second thief who has the wind code word, Sword Demon said. Outside Silent Night Valley, Yin Zhongmu failed to assassinate Mang Mang. After being rescued by the Han family young master, he quickly entered stealth again. The experienced Sword Demon immediately determined that this was another vanish skill. And this time, everyone clearly saw that there was no scroll in Yin Zhongmu's hand. Naturally, they couldn't help but think of Non-Smiler's wind code word. Although they couldn't be sure that this was Non-Smiler's dagger, it was still a possibility. A person who would entrust his best equipment to someone he trusted the most was a friend he trusted the most. It wasn't hard to find out. All they had to do was ask the reborn Amethyst July. After all, she was once close to Non-Smiler. It was impossible for her not to know who his best friend was. Through Luoluo, the Han family young master easily found out about Yin Zhongmu. Sword Demon added him as a friend and asked if he was also from Moonlit Night City. He knew that it wasn't far from the truth. Actually, this matter had taken a big detour. All they had to do was ask Gu Fei who a Non-Smiler friend was in Moon Night City, and Gu Fei would immediately tell them the answer. Unfortunately, who would have thought that Gu Fei had already met this person? No matter what, they had already found the person they needed. Sword Demon and Yin Zhongmu walked side by side and arrived in front of Wuxia's room. Sword Ghost verified the coordinates one last time before sending a message to Lu Fa. The door opened, and Wuxia welcomed the two into the room. It's you. Wuxia was surprised to see Sword Demon. He clearly recognized him as one of the 5 people outside Silent Night Valley. He couldn't wrap his head around it, but he remembered that it was Gu Fei who entrusted it to him, so he chose to trust him in the end. If we talk here, we won't have to worry about people eavesdropping. Thieves nowadays are too arrogant. Relying on the fact that there aren't any stealth skills, everyone likes to eavesdrop and peep. Sword Demon said this as if he was so pure and noble that he didn't care about such things. This made Yin Zhongmu and Wuxia feel ashamed. The two had just done this outside Silent Night Valley. Yin Zhongmu coughed lightly to ease the awkwardness. Brother Sword Demon, why are you looking for me? Didn't you say you had a plan? Sword Demon nodded. A plan to completely defeat the former Dust Guild. I think you should be interested. Sword Demon and the others were all veterans in the game. They could see that Boundless Mang was a very powerful person in the former Dust Guild. This Yin Zhongmu actually took the risk of being hunted down by the former Dust Guild to assassinate him. One could imagine how deep his resentment towards the other party was. Thus, he wanted to see if he could borrow any power from him. Oh, tell me about it. Yin Zhongmu had been through a lot. He wouldn't act unless he saw the rabbit. He wouldn't get excited when someone said there was a plan. That was something only a small character would do. How big is the former Dust Guild? Sword Demon asked. A level 4 guild with 500 people. Normally, there should be around 300 to 400 people online. Yin Zhongmu said and looked at Wuxia. It seemed like he wasn't sure if his information was accurate. Wuxia nodded confidently. That's right. It really was powerful. The biggest guild in Cloud City, reigning the 4 seas, was only level 3 with 300 people. It was a level lower than the former Dust Guild. I heard that the former Dust Guild doesn't have a good reputation. There must be a lot of players who have opinions about them, right? Sword Demon said. Of course. Yin Zhongmu said. Is there a chance of it being activated? Sword Demon said. Activate? Fight against the former Dust Guild? Yin Zhongmu laughed bitterly. You want to use the sea of people to destroy the former Dust Guild? Fuck, stop dreaming. Most of them are cowards. They usually act like men, but when it comes to war, they're all cowards. Last time, I invited a few guilds to sweep the leveling area. At the start it was all good, but in the end only a few dozen people were willing to come. The level 30 to 40 leveling area was filled with people from the former Dust Guild. With just this amount of people, what could they sweep? Right now, most of the experts in Moonlit Night City were in the former Dust Guild. Without 2 or 3 times as many people, what could they do? If this is your plan, then you're looking down on the intelligence of us Moonlit Night City players. Do you think we haven't thought of this type of human wave tactic? Sword Demon laughed. So you're saying that you can contact a few guilds? Yin Zhongmu nodded. That's not a problem. My life's goal is to destroy the former Dust Guild. If we let them be so arrogant, then how are we going to play? I'm the most miserable right now. Today, I've been seen by a vast amount of people. Once this 27149 incident is over, I'll probably be the target of the entire city's pursuit. Heavens, give me 500 experts and let me destroy the former Dust Guild. You can find 500 people? 500 people won't do. I need 500 experts. Didn't I say that the people from the former Dust Guild are all gathered in one place to level? If you pull one hair, the whole group will be affected. You need to have the strength to wipe them all out at once. Yin Zhongmu said. But it just so happens that such an opportunity has presented itself. The sword ghost smiled mysteriously. What chance? Yin Zhongmu asked. If it's possible, call all of your brothers over. I'll tell you all at once. I guarantee that you'll all be excited. Sword Demon said. Really? Yin Zhongmu hesitated. I never joke. Sword Demon's expression was serious. Okay, just you wait. Yin Zhongmu said and sent a message. He couldn't help but curse. You bastard. Come over here. Not long after, many guests came to visit Wuxia's room. They all had suspicious expressions. Yin Zhongmu said, Don't be noisy. Not everyone is here yet. These people didn't say anything else and silently sat to the side. Not long after, 9 more people came into the room. Cough. Yin Zhongmu said, Let me introduce you guys. This is Sword Demon. Everyone should be familiar with this name. Sword Demon was a legendary figure in the online gaming world. These people were clearly veterans. As soon as they heard this name, they immediately said, I've heard a lot about you. In the end, they still said to Yin Zhongmu, What did you call us here for? Shut the fuck up. Yin Zhongmu scolded. Brother Sword Demon said that he has a plan to overturn the past. He called you guys over to listen and learn. Overturn the past? Fuck. Brother Sword Demon, how many people did you bring? Someone shouted. I heard that you're in Cloud City. Qianli's surprise attack on Moonlit Night is the past. As expected of an expert. This little brother admires him, someone else said. Fuck, there's finally hope. These days are finally coming to an end. Amidst the discussion, Sword Demon smiled indifferently and said slowly, We don't have many people. There are only 6 of us. Everyone was startled and looked at each other. Someone was about to speak, but was interrupted by Yin Zhongmu. Shut the fuck up. Listen to what I have to say first. In the end, someone muttered in a low voice, "He's still asking us to risk our lives. If we don't succeed, we'll definitely be destroyed by the past." Before Sword Demon could speak, Yin Zhongmu had already started scolding. "Zhuxian, fuck you. What kind of bullshit guild is that? There are only 30 people in total. Half of them are level 10 accounts made up by your relatives. They won't come online anymore. If they get destroyed, you can just gather your whole family and start again. What the fuck are you shouting about?" Zhu Xian smiled. "Although the sparrow is small, it has all the organs. It wasn't easy for me to build this guild. In order to help me make up the numbers, my uncle entered this game and trained until level 10. He almost had a brain hemorrhage. I don't dare to trouble him anymore." Yin Zhongmu continued to scold him. "You're such a disappointment. Look at you, you're like a pile of shit in the game. That day at the auction house, you were scolded badly by that fucking Lani, right? Look at your grandson. You still dare to mention your uncle when you're like this in the game? Are you worthy of the fact that he risked his life to help you? Are you worthy of him risking his life to help you? Do you have any dignity left? Do you have any backbone? You. Don't fucking say that. I'll follow you, okay?" Zhu Xian's eyes were red from being scolded. "That's more like it." Yin Zhongmu nodded and said to Sword Demon, "Brother Sword Demon, don't worry. Although my friends aren't cultured. Fuck you. You're the one who isn't cultured. Your whole family isn't cultured. Old Yin, don't pretend to be a dog." After arguing for another 5 minutes, they finally calmed down. Yin Zhongmu pulled Sword Demon and said, "You saw it. These grandsons are indeed uncultured. Their words are so vulgar." But, seeing that everyone was about to scold him again, Yin Zhongmu hurriedly shouted, "Other than that Zhu Xian who is a bit of a grandson, the rest are all hot-blooded men. If you really have a feasible plan, take it out. We brothers won't even frown. We'll definitely straighten our necks and do it to the end." Old Yin, that's more like it. Everyone was satisfied. Only Zhu Xian continued to shout, "You fucking grandson, you fucking grandson." Okay. Sword Demon's blood was also stirred up by everyone's vulgar words. He stood up and said, "With this group of brothers, there definitely won't be a problem. Previous World's biggest advantage right now is that we have high levels and a lot of people. Plus, they're usually distributed in the same leveling area, so it's hard for people to take them down one by one. But now, when we need them, all of Previous World's online members will be split into 10 groups." Everyone's eyes widened. They were all veterans in the game. Everyone knew what this meant. "Do you have a map of Moonlit Night City?" Sword Demon asked. "I have it here." Lu Xia hurriedly took out the map. "Ah. There's a pretty girl. When did she come?" The group of jackals, wolves, tigers, and leopards became excited again. "What's the name of the pretty girl?" Everyone cursed. "Motherfucker, this is someone else's house. What are you arguing about? Let Boss Sword Ghost finish what he has to say," Yin Zhongmu shouted. Sword Demon looked at the map on the table and glanced over it. He pointed and said, "When needed, Previous World's members will be split into 10 groups. 9 of them will be distributed at the entrance of Moonlit Night City's dungeon, where the wanted missions are issued, and 7 will be in the offline safe zone. The last one will be in the wild at the entrance of Silent Night Valley." Everyone heard this and immediately understood what Previous World's guild wanted to do. Their arrangement is to hunt down 27149. They won't even give him a chance to go offline and turn himself in? How ruthless. Cloud Twilight said. The news that Gu Fei was hiding in the level 50 leveling area, Silent Night Valley, had already spread throughout Moonlit Night City. Sword Demon continued, "As long as 27,149 leaves Silent Night Valley, Previous World will act like this. You just said that they have 300 to 400 people online. Let's say he has 400. Silent Night Valley is quite wide, so there will be more people guarding it. Like this, there should be around 30 to 40 people in each area of the city. If we have 500 people, do we have 500 people?" Sword Demon asked them. They started counting with their fingers, and then communicated with each other. Finally, Cloud Twilight said, "According to the total number, there should be around 600 people. However, some are not online right now and some are low level and don't have the ability to fight. All in all, there should be around 400 people. Sword Demon nodded and said, 400 people divided into 5 groups. Each group has 80 people. The other group has 30 to 40 people. The advantage in numbers is quite obvious. We should be able to quickly eliminate the 5 groups. At this time, don't stop and continue to find the nearest target to attack. We should try to eliminate these 9 groups in a short amount of time. Previous Worlds Guild has lost a large amount of strength by 1 level. This is a heavy loss. When it came to business, this group of people put away their crazed and swearing expressions and all had serious expressions. After quietly listening to Sword Demon, no one quickly revealed excited expressions. After thinking about it, one person said, even so, to make previous worlds people lose a level. To be honest, compared to us, we are still in a situation where we can't win or lose. If we count their fresh troops in Silent Night Valley, our losses in this battle, and the 100 or so people from previous world who are not online, we will still be at a clear disadvantage. We are still far from completely overturning previous world. Everyone nodded in agreement. These guys were also very calm. Sword Ghost smiled and said, of course it's not as simple as wiping out all 9 squads in the city. There are still many details that we need to make use of. Brother Sword Demon, go ahead. Everyone listened attentively. After a player is killed, the resurrection point will be the spawn point of the profession. This is the first detail we need to use. The battle is carried out in front of the resurrection point, so it can be said that the dead players will be resurrected on the spot. However, because of this rule, in the battle in front of the Thieves Guild, the first to come to support the area will be the thief profession that died on any other battlefield. At present, the parallel world is still in the early stages. The composition of players is mainly level 30, and there are still few skills. The restraints between the various professions are still relatively obvious. Therefore, the troops attacking the Thieves Guild should mainly be warriors who restrain the thieves. Sword Demon said. Everyone immediately understood when they heard this, and they continued to analyze the situation. The Mage Academy will mainly be archers. The warrior camp will mainly be mages. The archer camp will mainly be thieves. There are still 3 professions. Sword Demon continued. At present, the most obvious restraints between professions are the 4 professions of warrior, mage, thief, and archer. Therefore, among the 5 teams that we are going to form, 4 of them will mainly be these 4 professions. After quickly occupying a place with 80 people versus 30 to 40 people, the remaining 60 or even 50 people with a profession advantage can easily suppress them. Using the restraints between professions, fighting with fewer people, and controlling these 4 points is a key point of our operation. Everyone, look at the map. Sword Demon called everyone. The 7 resurrection points of Moonlit Night City are distributed in a circle on this street. The Mage Academy is at 1 o'clock, the Night Camp at 3 o'clock, the Warrior Camp at 4 o'clock, the Combat Hall at 6 o'clock, the Priest Academy at 7 o'clock, the Archer Shooting Range at 9 o'clock, and the Thieves Guild at 11 o'clock. The dungeon is far away in the northwest corner of the city, far away from the battlefield. The wanted mission is on another street, which is closer to the Archer Shooting Range. Our 5 teams can only take care of 5 points at first. I believe the remaining 4 points have already started to come to help. The geographical location of each point is the second detail we need to pay attention to. The 4 locations of Warrior, Mage, and Archer should be occupied as soon as we arrive. But because the Warrior Camp is between the Night Camp and the Combat Hall, I believe they will receive reinforcements soon. To relieve the pressure of staying behind, give up on occupying the Warrior Camp first. The 4th team will start from the Night Camp and eliminate these 30 people first. Then, take advantage of the situation. Occupy the Warrior Camp, and stay behind. Don't transfer people out of this team. The nearest Night Camp may constantly have resurrected night players coming to support the Warrior Camp. The 5th team needs to be highly mobile. Attack the Combat Hall first. The Grandmaster of Combat profession players are relatively few at the moment. There isn't much threat here, so we can give up and stay behind. Then move clockwise toward the archer shooting range and pass by the priest academy. At this time, the people here should have already gone to help the battle at the archer shooting range. Priests basically have no combat power. Just leave 30 to 40 people in the priest academy to stand guard. The rest will continue forward and meet up with the team at the archer shooting range to eliminate the 30 people coming to help from the wanted mission. Then continue upward and reach the Thieves' Guild. Take the initiative to advance in the direction of the dungeon and eliminate this last team in the city. Sword Demon pointed at the map and drew a circle. At this point, 5 of the 7 resurrection points in the city have been suppressed. Based on the actual situation, we can transfer people to slightly control the remaining 2 teams. The rich members will wait for Silent Night Valley's reinforcements to fight to the death. Don't worry, our rich members are definitely more than their team. Moreover, after we have a clear advantage, I believe that many players who are watching from the sidelines will also help. From now on, previous dust will not have a chance to make a comeback, Sword Demon said. Everyone looked at the map and pointed at it while discussing in low voices. After a long time, Cloud Twilight nodded. Brother Sword Demon's plan is indeed brilliant, Sword Demon said. Of course, I'm talking about the most ideal situation. If we really start fighting, there might be some unexpected things that happen. However, as long as we follow this train of thought, our chances of winning are very high. Cloud Twilight nodded. But I still have a small question. Speak. I eavesdropped on the conversation between the 5 of you and Boundless Mang. So from that time on you were planning to use this plan to deal with previous dust? Cloud Twilight asked. That's right. Sword Demon nodded. Why? Why did you come all the way from Cloud City to deal with previous dust? Cloud Twilight asked. For a friend. Sword Demon's words were firm. Friend? Cloud Twilight was startled and immediately reacted. 27149? Sword Demon nodded. The words for friends caused Cloud Twilight's expression to become a bit hesitant. You know, Non-Smiler is my friend. I know. Sword Demon nodded. Everyone saw Cloud Twilight's hesitation. This time it was Zhu Xian's turn to scold. Old Yun, damn you. Why are you suddenly acting like a grandson? We know that Non-Smiler is your friend. He was cut 8 levels by 27149. But we have to deal with things one at a time. Not smiling being cut 8 levels by him has nothing to do with us fucking wanting to deal with previous dust. If you're a man, then you should know right from wrong. If you want to take revenge for Non-Smiler, then go fight 27149. Don't talk about this. After speaking, Zhu Xian took a step forward and looked at Sword Demon. Big brother Sword Demon, if you don't want to do it, then I'll do it. I've heard about your character and I trust you. Count my guild in. The room was silent. No one spoke for a long time. Yin Zhongmu looked at this and that, then suddenly laughed out loud. Screw you, Zhu Xian. Your lousy guild only has a dozen or so people apart from your relatives. If you want to do something big, I have to take the lead. You bastard, get to the back. The others instantly let out a sigh of relief. They went up to Cloud Twilight and beat him up. They scolded him as they beat him. Damn you, I almost thought you were going to be a grandson. Luckily you didn't disappoint us. Do it, we'll do it. Everyone shouted. Do it, kill these previous dust bastards. Cloud Twilight shouted the loudest. Sword Demon finally let out a sigh of relief and sent a message in the mercenary channel. Okay, I found a group of reliable brothers. No problem. Chapter 86. The Defeat the Past plan was being carried out in an orderly manner. Calculating the number of people, dividing them into groups, researching routes, and conducting field investigations all required time. Cloud Twilight and the others were veterans, so they didn't need Sword Demon's guidance. The only thing worth worrying about was the concealment of the plan. If the past noticed, everything would be for naught. However, Cloud Twilight and the others patted their chests and guaranteed that their guild brothers would be fine. On the other hand, there were spies in the Bygone Dust Guild who were constantly feeding back information. The people from the past were leveling up, completing quests, and having a great time. They didn't notice that a wide net was being cast towards them. An hour later, the selection of members was completed. Everyone gathered at Willow's house again and reported their members who could participate in the battle. Sunset Cloud's Guild, 74 players. 13 warriors, 11 mages, 11 archers, 10 priests, 14 thieves, 10 paladins, and 5 fighters. With Sunset Cloud taking the lead, everyone reported their guild members one by one. Below, Willow stood to the side and recorded the statistics. There were more and less members in each guild, but after the final count, there were 465 people. There were 83 warriors, 76 mages, 79 archers, 65 priests, 80 thieves, 61 knights, and 21 grandmasters of combat. Seeing this number, Sword Demon let out a sigh of relief. He was originally worried that the final composition would lack one or even two professions. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to carry out his plan of suppressing the other professions. Looking at it now, Cloud, Twilight, and the others were experienced players. They would rather go without than have too many members. From the very beginning, they paid attention to the balance of the number of professions. Other than the Grandmaster of Combat, which had fewer members, the other 6 professions were more balanced. The Grandmaster of Combat itself didn't have any problems. It was just that the range of movements during battle was too large, so normal people needed some time to adapt. After the game officials added this reminder, due to the uniqueness of the account, many people were cautious and didn't choose this profession. In reality, the Grandmaster of Combat's skill of spinning the sky and earth wasn't something that current level 30 players could do. This caused many players who were envious of the Grandmaster of Combat's combo to complain, thinking that the game officials were being too alarmist. "That's all we have right now," Twilight in the Cloud said to Sword Demon. "We've pulled everyone who's not online." This was one of the advantages of Sword Demon and the others' preparations before the battle. They could call those who were not online. Just this alone helped them gain more than 50 people. Previous life was still kept in the dark. If he waited until the battle started, and then went offline to call for reinforcements, then it would be more unreliable. Next was to divide them into groups. This seemed simple, but it was a lot of work. After all, they could not gather all 465 people and distribute them. That would be too conspicuous. Therefore, he could only do it in writing. Just listing the names of more than 400 people was a great project, not to mention the classes and levels. Zhu Xian even asked if they wanted to list out all the equipment, and was beaten up by everyone. Cloud Twilight hammered the most fiercely. He had the most hands, so he had the most work to do. After another hour, they were finally divided into 6 groups, which was one more group than the initial 5. Sword Demon's initial calculation was based on 400 people. A team of 80 people was enough to quickly wipe out a team of less than 40 people. At the moment, there were 465 people. And if they were divided into 6 groups, there would be 77 people. There were only 3 fewer than 80 people, so it wasn't a big problem. This way, the situation became even simpler. Everyone became even more excited. Finally, it was time to divide the members into groups. In order to prevent information from leaking, no one directly shouted in the guild channel. They were all private messages one by one. XXX, add XXX as a friend and listen to his commands. Just this one message was sent out one by one. In the middle, they still had to deal with some members' replies and inquiries. They were so busy that they were dizzy. Zhu Xian was happy again, he had the least number of people. Twilight in the Cloud was miserable again, he had the most people. "Everyone hang in there," Sword Demon said sympathetically. After this was done, the guild leaders' faces were pale. "I'm about to vomit," Twilight in the Cloud said. "I never thought that private messages could be so tiring." "Now is everything ready?" Sword Demon asked. "Boss Sword Demon, you wouldn't want us to confirm again, right?" One person wailed. "Every team leader just needs to confirm the people you want to bring," Sword Demon said. "What are you arguing about? Confirm again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Be more fucking energetic," Twilight in the Cloud said. He was also one of the team leaders. Since he had expressed his opinion, the others couldn't have any more objections. They could only open the friend list again, and privately messaged the team members that Wuxia had organized. A few of the team leaders who didn't need to be team leaders were idle. They winked at the 6 team leaders as if they were monkeys. After this was done, all of the preparation work came to an end. Everyone's expression was stern. After working so hard for so long, whether or not they could create a thunderous strike depended on what happened next. Everyone gritted their teeth, their fighting spirit incomparably high. Then, let's get ready, Sword Demon said. Everyone nodded, shook hands, and patted each other's shoulders. Fuck, let's go. Twilight in the Cloud roared. The few of them valiantly left Wuxia's house. Qianli, leave Silent Night Valley. Sword Demon sent a message to Gu Fei. Oh, Gu Fei didn't understand. He still didn't know anything about this plan. We have to clean up the past, Sword Demon said. That badass. Gu Fei replied while starting to move out of Silent Night Valley. What's going on? I'll tell you later. You have to be careful, the Sword Ghost said. The coordinates moved. The coordinates of 27,149 moved. Quite a few people in the previous guild discovered that Gu Fei had moved when the wanted mission coordinates were refreshed. Mang Mang naturally knew and immediately sent a message to Han Family Young Master. It moved. Got it. Han Family Young Master replied. Hurry up and get ready. No problem. Mang Mang replied and then gave the order in the guild. Over at previous Dust side, they had already completed the assignment of personnel to guard the 10 points. After seeing Gu Fei's coordinates move, some people consciously rushed to their assigned posts. At this time, when Mang Mang gave the order, all of the previous guild members in Moonlit Night City began to move, rushing to the 9 locations in Moonlit Night City from all directions. Don't worry about Silent Night Valley. Wait for 27149 to leave Silent Night Valley for a while before going back to block it. If anyone meets him on the way, pretend nothing happened, Mang Mang emphasized. Gu Fei brought the coward's savior out of Silent Night Valley. The place where the two of them squatted to eat barbecued meat was a place with relatively few monsters in the valley. It took a few monsters' respawn times for Gu Fei to deal with them with ease. If he really wanted to find a dense area to farm, Gu Fei would not be able to last for a long time because he had not learned any group attack spells, and he did not have any intelligence. Therefore, although Gu Fei currently had the ability to farm monsters in Silent Night Valley, the efficiency of farming monsters here was not optimistic. Just like that, Gu Fei squatted in the Silent Night Valley for nearly 7 hours. It was easy to kill monsters, eat big chunks of meat, and there was a kung fu enthusiast listening to Gu Fei talk about kung fu. These 7 hours had passed very happily. The moment he walked out of the secluded Night Valley, Gu Fei reluctantly turned his head back. Are they in position yet? Are they in position yet? The players in Bygone Dust were busy trying to understand the situation. Archers in position. Warrior Battalion in position. Thieves Guild in position. The news kept coming. The Bygone Dust Guild was like this, and so was the Sword Demons group. Until the last sentence, Silent Night Valley is blocked, came, everyone's spirits were lifted. Let's start. Han Family Young Master said to the Bygone Dust Guild. Go. The Bygone Dust Guild replied. She did not know the second meaning of Han Family Young Master's let's start. Let's start. Sword Demon said to his new group of brothers. This was the second meaning. The Bygone Dust Guild players at the Resurrection Point in Moonlit Night City found that many people had gathered around them. They did not care. Bygone Dust had made such a big move, so there would definitely be a lot of people curious. Of course, there would be a lot of people watching. At this time they were very proud. However, when these quietly gathered spectators suddenly waved the weapons in their hands and pounced at them, these people realized that something was wrong. By the time they felt that something was wrong, half of the people had already disappeared. Sword Demon had overestimated the number of people in Bygone Dust Guild. Bygone Dust only had 30 people at each point in Moonlit Night City. In a battle of 77 people against 30 people, the number of people was enough to make up for the difference in other aspects. Different battle scenes appeared in front of different resurrection points. Outside the Thieves Guild, a large number of warriors braved the attacks, stomping on the ground like thunder. Outside the Mage Academy, a sudden volley of arrows shot through the air, causing the former dukedom members to lose their bearings. Outside the archer shooting range, the members of Bygone Dust Guild suddenly screamed. Countless thieves appeared beside them, waving the daggers in their hands. Outside the warrior camp, the mages raised their right hands. Countless fire wheels descended from the sky, turning the camp into a sea of fire. Because there was an extra team, the warrior camp finally enjoyed the privilege of being attacked first. In addition, the night camp and the combat dojo were also captured in the blink of an eye, but the attack style was not as obvious. The first battle was a great victory, but the real battle had just begun. Whether everything would go according to plan was still unknown. Chapter 87. 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes had passed. Before the Dust Guild members could figure out what had happened, they had already met at the resurrection point. None of the 6 resurrection points that were attacked by the sword demon, and the others were spared. They were all sent to the resurrection point within 2 minutes. What was pitiful was that a considerable portion of the Dust Guild players who returned to the resurrection point were very confused. They walked out of the resurrection point in a daze while asking questions in the guild channel. Before the message could be sent out, they had already been sent back to the resurrection point by the Defeat the Dust army that was lying in ambush on both sides of the door. Sword Demon's precaution against the Dust Guild helping each other seemed to be unnecessary. This attack was too sudden. At this time, the guild channel of the Dust Guild was in a mess. There were people crying, shouting, screaming, cursing, asking for help, confused, and doing all kinds of things. They just didn't know what had happened. Whether it was Boundless Mang, Lan Yi, or the other core members of the Dust Guild with commanding authority, none of them could tell what had happened so quickly from the messy chat records. After spending a few minutes to figure out the situation through private messages, 8 of the 9 squads in the Dust Guild in Moonlit Night City had been eliminated by the Defeat the Dust army. The only one left was the 9th squad that was far away in the dungeon. Sword Demon had already arranged for one person to lead a team of 60 people to eliminate these 30 people. The rest of the people were setting up defenses. Apart from the combat dojo that was ignored due to the small number of people, the other 6 resurrection points had already been set up with ambushes. The combat techniques and the bow thief were also suppressed with class resistance. The extra people had already gathered, and were waiting for the strongest team of the Dust Guild to return from the direction of Silent Night Valley. The members of the Dust Guild who had died at the resurrection point weren't idle. At first, they were instantly eliminated when they walked out of the resurrection point in 2s and 3s. Seeing that there were already 20 to 30 people gathered around them, everyone decided to work together to break through. The result was obvious. They didn't have the advantage in numbers, and they were also countered by classes. Those who tried to break through didn't return. No, there was a return. They quickly returned to the starting point, and they were flying. At this point, Sword Demon revealed a satisfied smile. Level 3. Under the fierce assault of the Tempest Storm at the start of the game, most of the players had lost 3 levels. This was exactly what he had expected. The first attack would cause them to lose a level. The members of the past world would somehow walk out of the revival point and lose another level. When they realized that the situation was not right, they organized an organized counterattack and ended up losing another level. The plan went very smoothly. At this time, a group of level 27 former Dust members were hiding in the resurrection point, not daring to move. All of them complained and cursed the heavens and the earth. What was even more infuriating was that they had been annihilated to this extent. Yet they still didn't know who had done it. Everything happened too quickly. Although it happened 3 times, he still couldn't see any familiar faces. How could this be? How could this be? Mang was completely at a loss. He grabbed Lan Yi and asked. Lan Yi's face turned green. He had done a simple calculation, and calculated that 8 squads in Moonlit Night City had been slaughtered. The losses were extremely heavy, and more than 200 people had lost 3 levels. Don't tell me. I've fallen into a trap? The boundless Mang suddenly reacted. You mean that Han family young master? Lan Yi also reacted. The boundless Mang Mang was frantically calling for the Han family young master. The Han family young master was very calm. Even at this point he was still playing dumb. What is it? I'm busy. I'm being chased. The boundless Mang 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 couldn't make up his mind. If it's them, why would they have so many people? Aren't they from Cloud City? Lonnie also couldn't figure it out. Are they really from Cloud City? The two of them asked the people around them. Everyone said that they definitely hadn't seen these 5 faces in Moonlit Night City. Brother Yu and the other 2 could be ignored for now. Just the Han family young master and Sword Demon alone would leave a deep impression on anyone who had seen them. Since so many people said that they hadn't seen them before, they could already confirm that these people were indeed not players from Moonlit Night City. If he's not from Moonlit Night City, it's impossible for him to have so much power. That was the final conclusion. What's the situation now? Vast Mang Mang asked Lonnie. All 8 teams have been wiped out. They're stuck in the revival point and can't get out. Lonnie said. Don't panic. Boundless Mang quickly calmed down after being excited for a while. Several of the core members began to discuss how to deal with it through private messages. All 6 resurrection points were under control. Only the Grandmasters of Combat could still move freely. According to the information from the Thieves Guild, the other party was lying in ambush on the street outside the guild's main entrance, and there should be 50 to 60 of them. Only the Thief Guild was able to rely on stealth to carry out reconnaissance. Everywhere else was immediately destroyed as soon as they revealed themselves. 50 to 60 people. 6 places, 300 people. Lan Yi's face was getting uglier and uglier. At this moment, there were only members guarding the secluded Night Valley. Although there were many of them, there were only about 70 of them. Clear them one by one. The 50 or 60 of them are no match for us, someone suggested. Boundless Mang Mang shook his head. The other party clearly came prepared. They understand our situation very well. Our current force should also be within their calculations. Could it be that they have a team of over 100 people waiting to deal with us? Someone said. I'm afraid so. How could there be such a powerful guild in Moonlit City? Everyone was confused. The problem lies with those guys. Lonnie said. Could it be that they came from Cloud City? There's no point in discussing this now. Boundless Mang Mang made a prompt decision. Find 2 fast ones and chase after the coordinates of 27,149. See if those fellows are still chasing after us. The rest of you follow me back to Moonlit City. Those who encountered them should not be in a hurry to engage in battle, and should avoid the limelight first. Update the guild members' information. Notify those who have lost 2 levels or more to log off and come back online after 20 minutes. If possible, take advantage of this time to call out those who are offline. Everyone nodded in unison, and the previous dust began their counterattack in an orderly manner. Many people from the previous world have gone offline. Sword Demon and the others also received the report at this time. Bastards. Usually when they bully us, they show off their strength. Now that the situation isn't right, they're all cowards. Come out and fight to the death with us. Zhu Xian scolded. Sword Demon smiled and patted him. Now isn't the time to be impulsive. The people from the previous world are also very calm. They just want us to relax by going offline. Brothers, keep your spirits up. They will definitely organize a counterattack. Zhu Xian nodded. Boss Sword Demon, whatever you say. After the great victory in the first battle, everyone's remaining doubts about Sword Demon had disappeared. They were all sincerely convinced by Sword Demon. How long will it take to return from Silent Night Valley to Moonlit City? Sword Demon asked. The slowest profession, around 20 minutes. Cloud Twilight replied. With the current situation, they definitely won't dare to split up again. It will take at least 20 minutes to return. I just don't know what route they will take. Do we still have people in the team over there? Sword Demon asked. Cloud Twilight shook his head regretfully. No, our people were unfortunately sent to guard the city. Sword Demon was startled. Then where are they now? Cloud Twilight smiled. Not as many as them, just one brother. Chapter 88. There were 50 people at the 5 resurrection points and 30 people outside the Priest Academy. These 280 people were the minimum requirement for suppressing the resurrection points. Sword Demon didn't want to move, and he couldn't use the people on this side. Apart from these people, when the team led by Sword Demon met up with the 60-person team that raided the dungeon at the north gate of Moonlit Night City, there was only a team of about 180 people. If Bygone Dust's guild joined forces, they would have more than 100 people. Sword Demon couldn't estimate how many people could make up for the difference in other aspects in a battle of this scale. After all, this was the first time he had encountered a battle of this scale in the parallel world. But there was one thing everyone knew. The fewer people the other side had, the more advantageous it was for their side. Therefore, Sword Demon had to attack them before they joined forces. This way, their chances of winning would be much higher. Unfortunately, the main force moved slowly. Thieves, archers, and other professions had to accommodate the speed of the warriors and priests. On a large-scale battlefield, every profession was indispensable. Different professions actually had different movement speeds. This was very rare in previous online games. At this time, the thieves and archers in the team wanted to help the warriors and priests grow 2 more legs. Fortunately, Sword Demon and the others rushed over and never heard from Cloud Twilight, who was in charge of monitoring, that the other side had met up. Yin Zhongmu excitedly told everyone that the majority of the troops he saw within a radius of a few hundred meters were sword ghosts. That's great, Sword Demon thought to himself. Bygone Dust's 30-person team must have had to take a roundabout route to avoid detection, and wasted a lot of time on the way. At this moment, Cloud Twilight suddenly sent a message. That's strange. I've been watching for a long time. Why isn't Boundless Mang in this team? Have any of you seen her? Cloud Twilight obviously had the deepest resentment towards Boundless Mang. While he led his brothers to create a new life, he also wanted to help him vent his personal anger. I don't see her here either. Someone who stayed behind at the Priest Academy sent a message. Damn, where did that bitch go? Women. Once she saw such a big scene, she was so scared that she went back to her bed and hugged her pillow. Someone mocked. Yin Zhonghu wasn't the only one who felt resentment towards the boundless wilderness. Yin Zhonghu frowned. He knew that the boundless expanse wasn't that simple. This person was actually very similar to Yin Zhongmu's group of brothers. They were hot-blooded, bloodthirsty, and loyal. The only difference was that she was a woman, and her words were less vulgar. Sword Demon bravely took the lead. He took the lead to catch up with a guy and raised his hand to stab him in the back. Although previous world's players were outstanding in the eyes of Cloud Twilight and the other bandits, they were still a level lower than Sword Demon. The other side turned around and wanted to fight back. Sword Demon raised his hand and slashed down. Shwa, shwa, shwa. He dealt 2 fatal blows and finished off the other side. Boss Sword Demon, you're too awesome. Everyone shouted in unison. Sword Demon killed a warrior, which was a class that countered thieves. Ordinary thieves would at most go up and touch people, and then they would have to fly away. Warriors had high defense and high HP, and thieves' physical damage was really difficult to deal with. In order to deal effective physical damage to warriors, it was necessary to have high lethal equipment like Sword Demon. Sword Demon waved to everyone and rushed to the next target. Sword Demon didn't blindly find a warrior to kill. He also used identification to identify the target before making a decision. This was also a risk. If the warrior turned around and used Whirlwind Slash, it would be very dangerous. This was currently the most lethal skill, and because of the rage value, the duration of the skill was also erratic. If a thief was really cut, they would die without a doubt. Currently in the game, only Gu Fei, with his abnormal skills, thought that Whirlwind Slash was a very rigid and easy to guard against. Sword Demon killed a warrior. After arousing everyone's fighting spirit, he then rushed to a mage. In the game, fighting spirit was equally important. Of course, it was impossible to stimulate any potential here, but at least the hot-blooded violent people were not afraid of death, and all of them fought bravely. Previous worlds' professions that ran fast could escape, but priests and warriors couldn't escape death. The more Sword Demon killed, the more confused he became. He really couldn't figure out previous world's intentions. At this moment, news suddenly came from Moonlit Night City. A team of about 30 people appeared at the archer shooting range. Damn, what skill is this? This was the next shout from the players stationed at the archer shooting range. Then a minute later, bad news came. Team annihilation. How is this possible? Sword Demon and the others were greatly shocked. Outside the archer camp was also a team of 50 people. Even if they couldn't beat the opponent's team of 30 people, with the advantage in numbers, how could they be annihilated so quickly? In this way, the suppression of one resurrection point was equivalent to a failure. Most of the players who stayed here were thieves who countered archers. A large number of thieves resurrected at the Thieves' Guild, and this was one of the closest points to the archer shooting range. With so many reinforcements, they didn't have to worry so much about the extraordinary team of 30 people. However, at the Priest Academy, which was also not far from the archer shooting range, there were currently only 30 people staying here. The Priest Academy's team, retreat towards the warrior camp, quickly. Sword Demon ordered towards the city as he gathered the team members who were running in all directions on the plains. At this time, Sword Demon realized that it really wasn't easy to gather this team that had already scattered like sheep. At the very least, it needed time. Was this what the opponent wanted? Sword Demon's heart trembled. At this time, another report came from the city. Previous world's players have all started to come online. Damn it, hurry up. Don't fucking kill here. There's a big problem in the city. Cloud Twilight was also anxious. He directly gave up on the chat channel and howled like a wolf king on the plains. There's a problem. Sword Demon quickly sent a message to Han Family Young Master. What are you guys doing? What happened? I'm drinking. Han Family Young Master replied. Damn it. Sword Demon had clearly been in contact with Cloud Twilight and the others for a long time. The opponent's initial unknown team suddenly appeared and took down the archer shooting range in a minute. Sword Demon said. Impossible. How many people did you leave at the archer shooting range? They were taken care of in a minute? Han Family Young Master was also shocked. 50 people. Sword Demon said. Their current whereabouts are unknown. Nonsense. Where else could they go after taking down the archer shooting range? Han Family Young Master said. Warrior camp. Sword Demon instantly reacted. Sword Demon and the others weren't the only ones who could take advantage of the class restraints. The opponent must have already understood the strategy of Sword Demon, and the others using the class restraints to suppress the resurrection point. Now that they had rescued a large number of archers, they would naturally attack the classes restrained by archers. This place was the warrior camp. The 50 people outside of the warrior camp were mainly mages who were restrained by archers. Thief Guild new thieves hurried to the warrior encampment. Sword Ghost hurriedly ordered. He was glad that the guards of the priest camp were also transferred to the warrior camp. What's going on? Cloud Twilight hurriedly came over and asked. When Sword Demon said this, Cloud Twilight immediately reacted. Speed, all of you fucking speed. They just lost a level and respawned. They don't know how to speed anymore. Sword Demon reminded Cloud Twilight. Damn it. Cloud Twilight cursed. Where did these 30 people come from? Did they secretly form them? Sword Demon didn't think so. If they had met up and gathered these 30 people to rush to the archer shooting range, then they could have organized more people to go there. There was no need to form a 30-person elite team. These 30 people were the 30 people who were guarding the entrance to the dungeon. However, how could these 30 people have such outstanding battle strength? This was really incomprehensible. Chapter 89. Gather quickly. Hurry. Cloud Twilight continued to shout at the people around him. They were in the wild, so they obviously couldn't make it in time for the battle that was about to start outside the warrior camp. We can't wait any longer. Sword Demon shouted. Hurry back to the city and support the warrior camp. A high-mobility team composed of thieves and archers quickly rushed into the city. Sword Demon calculated in his heart. The other side had a team of 30 people. Even if he rescued the former members of the archer range without any casualties, he estimated that there would only be 60 to 70 people. If several of his forces could arrive in time, the advantage of numbers was very obvious. We must make it in time, Sword Demon said in his heart. The former team passed through the center of Moonlit Night City from the archer range to the warrior camp on the opposite side. The distance wasn't close. For a team like theirs, which was already at a disadvantage in numbers, the priest was undoubtedly very important. Presumably, they wouldn't dare to leave the priest behind and advance quickly. Priest? Fuck. Sword Demon suddenly realized that he seemed to have made a very important mistake. The team that blocked the priest's resurrection point shouldn't have retreated so quickly. Perhaps the other side would want to rescue the priest first. Although the team of 30 people couldn't resist, at least they could force the other side to circle around and come here. This was a good way to buy time. But now that the 30 people had left, the priest had undoubtedly gone to the center of the city to meet up with their main force. It was too late to think about this now. However, a team with a priest shouldn't advance too quickly. This was the last hope in Sword Demon's heart. At this time there was good news. A friend of Cloud Twilight in the center of the city saw this group of former team assembled. In the end, the direction they chose to advance in was not the warrior camp at 4 o'clock, but the streets in the northeast direction. Northeast, 1 o'clock Mage Academy? So it's still here. Sword Demon thought. The most threatening in a team battle was, of course, the mage with the ability to deal group damage. It seemed that the former team still wanted to give the team firepower first. Hearing this news, Han family young master was greatly surprised. The other side's commander isn't simple? ? Sword Demon flew back while communicating with the Han family young master. The message he sent was very brief. If they chose to attack the warrior camp, they would have to rush from the 9 o'clock archer's shooting range to the 4 o'clock warrior camp. However, this team was mainly made up of mages that dealt high AoE damage. Even if they had the advantage of archers, they would still have to pay a certain price in the end. What was even more fatal was that the mages who were sacrificed here would be revived at the Mage Academy. By the time they attacked here again, our people would have already gathered at the Mage Academy. However, the Mage Academy was under our control, which meant that there were no mages on the other side in this chaotic battle. We're outnumbered, and we don't have any mages. Do you think we can win the team battle? Han family young master analyzed. That's why I said that their commander isn't simple. His vision isn't limited to what's in front of him. Seizing the Mage Academy is the key to this battle, the Han family young master concluded. Half of the members of the former world have lost 3 levels. Even if both sides had the same number of people, their strength was already equal. Whoever has more mages will win. The archer shooting range was captured by 30 people in 1 minute. What happened? Sword Demon couldn't help but stop and ask. This I'm not sure yet. Anyway, hurry to the Mage Academy and build a defense line. Oh right, his first step was to capture the archer shooting range. And his goal was to have archers to block the Mage Academy. Damn, this guy's arrangement is so meticulous. Who the hell is he? The Han family young master was surprised. Vast and boundless? I've already met this woman. Although she has some skills, she's definitely not someone with this kind of foresight. Alright, I've already arrived at the Mage Academy. The Sword Demon let out a sigh of relief. The Mage Academy was in the 1 o'clock direction, not far from the North Gate and the Thieves' Guild. The opponent's unexpected change in route made it convenient for the Sword Demon and the others to hurry. At this time, the 2 groups had already arrived at the entrance of the Mage Academy and were waiting in formation. I don't think it's right. This person dared to attack the Mage Academy, so he must have confidence in your defenses. There must be some information that we don't know. The Han family young master was also anxious in the tavern. There's no time to think, they're already here. The Sword Demon closed the chat window. In the distance, the silhouettes of the former World Guild were already floating on the street. However, their movement speed was a bit too fast. They're all archers? The Sword Demon suddenly froze and looked at Cloud Morning. In the past, it was only a team of 30 or so people, and all of them were archers. Thieves go into stealth and circle around them from behind. Archers snipe. The sword demon casually commanded. Most of the opponents were archers who had already lost their level 30 skill, snipe. Compared to the archers on the sword demon's side, their shooting range was reduced. This team of 30 archers could not pose any threat at all. What the hell are they doing? The sword demon was at a loss. There must be some people hiding somewhere. Go find them. Cloud Morning sent a few thieves out to scout. Past life's archers didn't engage Sword Ghoul and the others in a direct confrontation. After firing a few arrows, they began to circle around and engage in guerrilla warfare. They ran as fast as they could, clearly not wanting the thieves to get close to them. Stalling for time, the sword demon couldn't help but mutter to himself. One of the 10 leaders of the Defeat the Former World Army, Duan Yun, was far less nervous than the sword demon and Cloud Morning. He was the leader in charge of guarding the night camp. The night class was balanced, but it wasn't a class that could affect the situation of the battle. Duan Yun thought that no matter which point the opponent wanted to attack, they wouldn't choose the night camp, which was the most meaningless choice. But at this moment he heard footsteps. Messy and heavy footsteps came from the alley on the side of the street. Not long after, a team of about 30 people rushed out of the alley and headed straight for the defending army led by Duan Yun. There were no spells, no arrows, and no invisible thieves. This turned out to be a team composed purely of warriors. Duan Yun was surprised when he suddenly saw a dazzling circle of light flash in the opponent's team. The circle of light lit up from the top of the opponent's head, then spread in all directions and landed. The team of more than 30 people were all bathed in this halo. Then, as if the whole team had stepped on the accelerator, their running speed suddenly increased by a notch. Duan Yun had been in the parallel world for so long, but he had never seen a warrior reach such running speed. The opponent withstood the arrows and spells released by Duan Yun's team, and rushed in front of them. At the same time, the knights in the night camp also stepped out of the resurrection point, cast all kinds of blessing halos on themselves, and joined the battle. Sword Demon and the others had a misunderstanding. The opponent wasn't just a team of 30 people. When they attacked the resurrection point, the former players in the resurrection point would also rush out at any time to help them. To be precise, this was a team of more than 60 people. The two teams fought in close combat, and Duan Yun's team was surprised to find that this group of people shrouded in the halo was not only fast, but also had high attack and defense, and even had high HP. There was no doubt that the halo was some kind of skill that increased all attributes. What was more frightening was that it was an AoE skill. There was already a gap in strength between them and the former members. And now that the opponent had such a skill that increased their strength, Duan Yun's team seemed very vulnerable. The white light kept flashing everywhere, and the team of 50 people was wiped out in an instant. Duan Yun held on until the end, and at the last moment before he fell to the ground, he saw a sword in the center of the halo, raised high, and emitting a golden light. The person holding this sword was Silvermoon, the former guild leader of the former Dust Guild. The dignified former guild leader of the former Dust Guild had unexpectedly become a neglected character. It was all because he had been sent to the dungeon by Gu Fei on a wanted mission. While in the dungeon, all chat windows would be banned. Waiting, all he could do was sit and wait. 8 hours was not easy, but Silvermoon finally made it through. When he walked out of the dungeon, unable to control himself, he saw his guild's 30 people running out in a panic. Silvermoon hurriedly stopped this team. At the same time, the guild chat window, which had been unbanned, was also crazily flooded with messages. It was when Sword Demon and the others led the team to carry out a strong attack on the former Dust Guild throughout Moonlit Night City. Silvermoon didn't know what had happened in the past 8 hours, but after asking the people around her, she immediately realized that this was a premeditated trap. The powerful guilds of the former Dust World were split into 10 small teams and defeated one by one. The 9th team in the dungeon would obviously also be the target of the attack. It was probably because the distance was too far, or because the other party didn't have enough people, that they didn't take care of it. Silvermoon made a prompt decision and led the 9th team out of the dungeon, but didn't go to reinforce any of the battlefields. Instead, he quietly slipped out of the west gate of Moonlit Night City. After that, he got in touch with Mang Mang and the others who were rushing to the north of the city to help. He deployed people and formed a team of warriors, supplemented by a few priests. What Silvermoon wanted was to use the advantage of the weapon in his hand. King's Sword. Additional skill, Battle Formation King's Command. Effect. All attributes of team members within skill range plus 15%. Mana consumption per second is 4% of the maximum. Skill cooldown is 10 minutes. In a team battle, this would be a trump card that could play a decisive factor. Chapter 90. After gathering the knights in the night camp, Silvermoon didn't stop and directly led the team to kill the warrior camp below the night camp. This was his final goal, because the warrior class was the best at using the skill King's Command. The archer's strength was attack range. The mage's strength was attack range. The thief's strength was ghost-like stealth. The knight's strength was the same type of blessing skill. The priest's strength was recovery skill. The fighter's strength was rare. The biggest advantage of these major professions couldn't be strengthened by the King's Command. Only the warrior, the one with high HP, high defense and high attack, the one who showed his advantage with basic attributes, was the class that could best use the King's Command. However, because it was a warrior team, their movement was relatively slower. Silvermoon didn't dare to compete with the fast-moving thieves and archers of Sword Demon, and the others who came back to help. A large number of mages were gathered outside the warrior camp. If the enemy's reinforcements arrived first, they would be able to form a line of defense in front of the mages. Then, this small assault team of around 30 people would inevitably be buried in a sea of fire even under the king's order. That was why Silvermoon chose to create a diversion. First, he pretended to march towards the northeast corner, and after entering the intertwined alleys, he split into two. A team of archers continued to move forward to attract the enemy's attention, while Silvermoon's assault team rushed towards his final target, the warrior camp. Getting rid of the night camp was also on the way. The more knights, the more power. In terms of attributes, the knight was the profession closest to the warrior. As for choosing to attack the archer shooting range at the beginning, Han family young master's considerations were a little too far-sighted. Silvermoon's plan was simple. He was a warrior team, so of course he would choose the most confident first battle. That was of course the large number of thieves outside the archer shooting range. The assembled warriors and knights rushed down the mountain without stopping. In theory, Silvermoon's King's Command skill consumed 4% of his mana per second, and could only last for 25 seconds. However, he had an effective supplement. Boundless Mang also had an additional skill from his weapon. Ideal Staff. Additional skill, Mana Sacrifice. Burning his own mana, consuming 5% of the upper limit to replenish mana to a target other than himself. What's more, this was a skill with no cooldown time. On the other hand, Boundless Mang Mang was a spirit priest with high intelligence, and had a lot of mana. Her 5%, when added to Silvermoon, became 10% of Silvermoon. In other words, after using up all his mana in the vast expanse, he could replenish Silvermoon's mana by 200%. This alone could extend the duration of King's Order by another 50 seconds. However, Silvermoon had already deactivated the skill. Including the boundless replenishment, the skill's duration was only 75 seconds. This amount of time was not even enough to walk from the night camp to the warrior camp. In the battle in front of the warrior camp, Silvermoon no longer planned to use King's Command. After the 10-minute cooldown, he planned to save it for the last battle. The Silvermoon team rushed to the warrior's camp, and completed their preparations on the way. The knight cast Blessing of Life on everyone, a skill that automatically regenerated a little HP every 5 seconds. When dealing with mages, as long as he rushed to them with his remaining life force, the rest of the work would be as easy as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Outside the warrior camp, Duan Yun and the others were extremely nervous at this time. Just now, the knight who was resurrected on the spot outside the night camp reported that Silvermoon and his team were already heading in the direction of the warrior camp. They're coming. Duan Yun frowned. The thunderous footsteps were even more frightening than the last time. This time, Silvermoon didn't release King's command, so the group of warriors and knights naturally wouldn't stick together. A bunch of people were scattered at the entrance of each alley. At this time, they appeared together and pounced toward the warrior camp from multiple directions. Duan Yun looked distressed. How could he have expected that Silvermoon would suddenly stop releasing this skill? The enemy pounced in such a disorderly manner, effectively reducing the mage's group damage advantage. If the enemy had fewer people, the mage could still resist. The problem was, at this time, the enemy's people were already extremely numerous, far more than the defending army outside the warrior camp. Silvermoon's 30-odd people squad, the 40-odd knights rescued from the knight camp, and the 30-odd people who rushed out of the warrior camp. In addition, there were priests who were rescued at the same time as the archers. They hadn't seen any trace of this group of people since they left the academy, and now they suddenly appeared. This was an internal shield legion of more than 100 people. It's over. There's no way to resist. Old players like Duan Yin could already foresee the consequences with a glance at the situation in front of him. However, no one in the hot-blooded defeat the former Dust Legion would choose to retreat. After a fierce battle, although their side ended in defeat, they also made the former Dust Guild pay the price they deserved. The former Dust Guild had gathered a huge legion in front of the warrior camp. Warriors, knights, and priests were the three main professions of this legion. In terms of style, this legion was undoubtedly a meat grinder. There weren't too many techniques. They just took the attacks and got close, then strangled the opponent. Duan Yin had already experienced this style twice. Having just resurrected in the warrior camp, he saw Silvermoon and the others gathering outside the camp, but he couldn't do anything. He could only continuously report the situation here to Sword Demon and the others at the Mage Academy. After a long and drawn-out battle, the team of archers from the Mage Academy who were harassing them was finally eliminated. At the same time, news came that the Knight Camp and the Warrior Camp had fallen. Sword Demon and the others didn't choose to rescue them. They had already gathered all their forces outside the Mage Academy, including the Thieves' Guild, which hadn't been attacked yet. The warriors stationed there also returned to defend. The last line of defense was formed outside the Mage Academy. The other side didn't have a mage. This was the last advantage that Sword Demon and the others could use. If they even gave up on this, then all their efforts would go back to square one. At this moment, they were analyzing the information that Duan Yin had exchanged for 2 sacrifices. The enemy is all warriors and knights, and there are many priests too. It's a team with amazing vitality and regeneration. In addition, Silvermoon has a mysterious skill. Under the cover of his halo, the speed, attack, defense, and health of all the members of the team have a frightening increase. We don't know the range of the skill, but it's definitely not a problem to cover 30 people. We also don't know how long it lasts, but it shouldn't be used for a long time. At least Silvermoon didn't keep using it to run from the Knight Camp to the Warrior Camp. A very violent way of fighting, charging in front of the enemy while taking the attacks. If a warrior gets close, then it's really hard for any class to fight. Sword Demon sighed. Maybe a Grandmaster of Combat can do it, Zhu Xian said. He was a player who yearned to be a Grandmaster of Combat, but was scared off by an official hint. He still couldn't forget about a Grandmaster of Combat. Everyone gave him a sidelong glance. The atmosphere was so heavy that even Yun Zhongmu couldn't be bothered to scold him. Silvermoon is the key figure of the enemy. Find the archers and go to the roofs. If you find this guy, everyone attack him, Sword Demon said. Everyone nodded. From this point of view, this battle didn't seem too difficult. The opponent was relying on Silvermoon's trump card AoE skill. If this guy was disabled, the difficulty of the battle would plummet. But would it really be that easy? No one dared to be too optimistic. In any case, the archers were quickly in position, lying on the roofs of the streets outside the Mage Academy, waiting for Silvermoon's arrival. The entire square outside the Mage Academy was quiet. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, no one would believe that there would be so many people here. Suddenly, someone broke the silence. Fuck you, Zhu Xian. What are you shaking for? Look at you. The one who scolded was Yin Zhongmu. Fuck you, Aren't you also shaking nervously? Zhu Xian retorted. How am I shaking? Your legs are shaking. Fuck you, your legs are shaking when you see me. Hurry up and help me. Yin Zhongmu scolded. Fuck you. Zhu Xian walked up and helped Yin Zhongmu up. Yin Zhongmu put his hand on Zhu Xian's shoulder. Fuck you. Fuck you. The two were still scolding. Sword Demon couldn't help but laugh. He couldn't deny that this group of people was a group of passionate and loyal brothers. They had achieved a great victory at the beginning of the battle, but the situation had suddenly changed in the end, and they had been forced to fight head-on with their opponents. This was completely different from the Sword Ghost's initial plan of a guaranteed victory. However, after winning their trust, no one uttered a single word of complaint. Even when Sword Demon made a few wrong predictions of the enemy's actions, and even made mistakes in the orders he gave, everyone wanted to quickly find a way to remedy the situation. No one sighed. There were many players watching the plaza. There were many like Yin Zhongmu and Zhu Xian who couldn't help but feel nervous. However, no one backed down. There was only determination in their eyes. As long as they did it, they had to do it until the last moment. Sword Demon suddenly felt like crying. He hadn't felt this way in a long time. They're here. They're here. Suddenly, the thieves sent to scout ahead sent a message. Someone suggested whether to hide a group of thieves and ambush them on the way, but this plan was quickly rejected. The enemy was mainly a tank army with warriors. Even if the thieves successfully used backstab, they wouldn't be able to pose much of a threat. Moreover, the enemy had a large number of priests following them and healing each other. The thieves couldn't go back. Other than the archers, all the professions formed a human wall. What we have to rely on are mages. The enemy doesn't have mages. This was the unchangeable objective of this battle. Chapter 91. They're here. They're here. They're here. As the footsteps approached, everyone shouted in their hearts. To defeat the former Dust Legion had more than 300 people participating. The former Dust Legion was made up of warriors, knights and priests. There were no more than 200 of them. The advantages and disadvantages were obvious. However, the former Dust Legion was a legion that could use the energy of the meat shields to the extreme. When all the meat shields huddled together, they weren't meat shields anymore, but meatballs. A big meatball that could crush everything. This time the meatballs didn't choose any evasive route. They just came from the widest street that was connected to the plaza, and charged over with a soul-stirring killing intent. Archers, get ready! Archers, get ready! Cloud Twilight sent a group message. He didn't care if everyone in his friend list was an archer. At this time, the meatballs were already close. The archers on the roofs peeked out, and began to chase after Silvermoon. Sword Demon, Cloud Twilight, and the others who stood at the front of the defense line could already see the enemy's lineup. Fuck. Everyone cursed. Silvermoon, you bitch, you're too despicable and shameless. Cloud Twilight cursed. A good battle of the century has been tarnished by you. Zhu Xian cursed. Despicable, too despicable. The former dust meatballs that charged over were all masked. Without their faces, which one was Silvermoon in the vast sea of people? Not to mention Silvermoon, it was hard to tell which one was a knight, and which one was a warrior. There were also many knights who chose to add points to strength and wear heavy armor. Just as they were about to enter the charging range, the meatballs suddenly emitted a golden light. After the golden light quickly spread, everyone was bathed in it. The meatballs had become golden fried meatballs with just the right amount of heat. In the center of the halo, the sword flashing with golden light is Silvermoon. Duan Yun had heard from somewhere that his army was at a loss because they couldn't recognize the enemy's commander, Silvermoon, and hurriedly sent this information. But the problem was that the game didn't stipulate that one had to raise the weapon above their head like Hikari to use skills. The players were doing this to look more beautiful and stand out. At this time, even Silvermoon's face was covered. How could she still maintain her image? This king's sword, whose name was simply King, was hanging in front of him like a silver moon. He wished he could clamp it in his pants. This was also the reason why the king's order didn't spread above their heads, but suddenly spread among the crowd. After all, the the skill was emitted from the sword. At this moment, how could it be easy to find an equally golden sword in the crotch of his pants from all the golden armors in the city? However, the archers could not give up just like that. Otherwise, wouldn't they have climbed the roof for nothing? Taking advantage of the fact that the other party's party didn't have any classes that could attack from afar, the archers suddenly stood up, raised their bows, and shot at the center of the group of meat that they believed to be the center of the group. It is often said that there are 1,000 Hamlets in the eyes of 1,000 readers. At this moment, there were dozens of silver moons in the eyes of dozens of archers. The arrows fell like rain, but the lump of flesh in front of them turned a blind eye. The priests did their best to heal, and those who were attacked immediately cast a recovery spell. The archer's terrifying skill, snipe, which often caused instant kills, was actually weakened to the extent that it was ignored by the meatball that had King's order, the blessings of the knights, and the recovery spells of the priests. All the archers' hearts were shattered. Under the effect of King's order, the meatball's speed increased significantly. It sped up and rolled forward, leaving everyone in the dust. Some of the archers couldn't reach it anymore. Damn it! Get ready! Cloud Dusk let out an angry roar and waved the dagger in his hand. However, the dagger was too small and couldn't be used as a flag at this moment. From afar, it looked like Cloud Dusk waved his hand, and then his fingers froze in front of him. It looked like he had smashed a brick. Zhu Xian was fierce enough. He raised the giant axe in his hand and pointed it at the sky. Everyone get ready! Everyone roared in unison. However, no one moved. The strategy had been planned long ago. The melee classes at the front were to defend and couldn't charge recklessly. They had to maintain the formation and leave the main attack to the mages at the back. All the mages had already raised their staffs. Fire wheels descended from the sky, ready to burn the square in front of the Mage Academy at any moment. As for the mages of the past in the Mage Academy, they had already been suppressed by the Sword Demon, and the others who had taken the resurrection point 3 times in the Mage Academy. There wouldn't be any more mistakes in this aspect. There were enough archers left inside the formation to restrain them. As long as the mages of the past dared to take a step out, they would shoot without hesitation. The two armies finally collided. Fall! Dozens of weak mages roared in unison. Countless fire wheels were summoned from the sky and landed on the square. Flames leaped up and burned the ground. The meatballs of past were on this piece of land. The priests were casting healing spells almost continuously for themselves, for their teammates, and for everyone around them. The meatballs of past were still golden, fried meatballs with golden light protecting them. They didn't turn black because of the burning ground. Of course, sacrifices were inevitable, but the important thing was that the meatballs of past didn't retreat. They withstood the sea of fire from the mages and continued to charge forward. The ones at the front might fall, but the ones at the back would soon catch up and would be a few steps closer than the ones at the front. This kind of tactic that was often criticized in battles was now exploding with amazing combat power from the meatballs of past. Because they were indeed strong enough. Their abilities were higher than their opponents. As long as they could get close, they were unstoppable. The meatballs of past finally stepped forward. The meatballs formation suddenly spread, and a row of warriors roared. Whirlwind slash. A whole row of whirlwind slashes. This was the elite squad of the past, the team of warriors that Silvermoon had brought with her from the beginning. They only had a little more than 20 people, but they had never lost a level. Along the way, they had accumulated rage and never used whirlwind slash. At this moment, everyone was full of rage. Once released, the whirlwind that rolled up extinguished the flames ignited by the mages. In close combat, the mages could no longer use Skyfall fire wheels. In the parallel world, there was no immunity to damage from the same team. The formation of the Defeat the Former Dust Army was instantly shattered. No one could block the attack of the Whirlwind Slash. Although there were warriors who used Whirlwind Slash to fight head-on, there was already a gap between them and the people of the past. Moreover, the other side had been strengthened by King's command. If they fought head-on, they would die even more miserably and faster. Retreat! Retreat! Sword Demon commanded everyone to retreat. As long as there was some distance, the mages could be useful and have a chance to turn the situation around. But the people of the past wouldn't give them such a chance. The warriors who used Whirlwind Slash didn't have the time to enjoy themselves. As soon as they saw the other side showing signs of retreating, they immediately stopped the skill and followed up. They wanted to get close to the other side and make the other side's mages hesitate to attack. The advantage that Sword Demon and the others had was completely suppressed. Damn it, fight! Yin Zhongmu roared. Seeing that the other side had stopped Whirlwind Slash, he went forward. In this situation they could at least fight. After all, they still had an overwhelming advantage in terms of numbers. The other side's lineup of more than 100 people had already lost 2/3 of them on the way to close in. On the other hand, they were only killed by the Whirlwind Slash just now. Their advantage in numbers didn't decrease but increased. Even if they didn't rely on mages, they might still be able to defeat the other side. Could they really fight? Difficult, too difficult. Sword Demon, who was fighting with a warrior in front of him, only had this feeling in his heart. The warriors under King's command were really powerful to a frightening extent. That abnormal health and defense made his attack become a futile attempt to quench his thirst. What was worse was that behind each of their warriors stood a priest, and some even had two. When they were charging and breaking through the enemy lines just now, the priests had always been at the back of the team. They didn't suffer too much spell damage, so their losses were the lowest. Behind every successful man, there was always a successful woman. And behind every successful tank warrior, there would always be a successful priest. With this kind of configuration, the thieves, as the suppressed profession, couldn't deal with the warriors at all. Even Sword Demon couldn't. If the other side was attacked by him, he could recover. And if he was attacked by the other side twice in a row, he probably wouldn't even have the chance to recover. The warrior's level 0 skill, Slam, was also a great threat to thieves with low health in this kind of situation. In addition, like the level 18 charge, in addition to higher attack, it would also cause a stun effect. At present, the other side didn't use it, just because they didn't want to find themselves surrounded after using a skill. The warriors of the past each faced 2 or 3, or even more opponents. But with the support of various skills, they walked forward fearlessly. Being a tank to this point was really playing to the extreme. At least for the current players around level 30, this was the case. On the side of the square, a few people on a roof were pointing at the battle. That person, I'm afraid it's Silvermoon. One person pointed at a masked man on the battlefield. I've been paying attention to him for a long time. He hasn't done anything except moving. It's probably a continuous type of skill, so he's just moving. Shoot him, another person said. Shoot now? It can't be a second, right? The archer in the team hesitated. Maybe attacks can interrupt the skill? This person said. That makes sense. The archer knocked an arrow and aimed at Silvermoon in their eyes. A sniper shot whistled out and firmly hit the guy. As expected, this person wasn't instantly killed, and the sudden attack didn't panic at all. He just looked back in this direction. The few priests around him were already busy the moment he was shot. 2 of them helped him recover at the same time. It's him. Find a few more archers and kill him. Chapter 92. These people were the 3 members of the child elite group, Yutian Shenming, Brother Yu, and Han Family Young Master. Unscathed in battle, saw the chaotic battle below and couldn't bear the loneliness any longer, so he joined the fray. At this time, he was also a member of the first line of defense for Sword Demon and the others, valiantly fighting with others. When Han Family Young Master mentioned recruiting archers, the 3 began to look around. There were many archers lying in ambush on the roofs, but when the meatballs rushed into the square and engaged in close combat, most of them didn't have enough range. At this time, they were also trying to adjust their positions, hoping to contribute their strength. Some people were at the ends of the roofs where they couldn't shoot, so they all jumped down from the roofs. Some of the smarter ones had already identified Silvermoon from the enemy camp and were trying to adjust to that side. However, if they wanted to directly attack Silvermoon, they had to occupy a high position. If they came down from the ground, the archers definitely wouldn't be able to shoot Silvermoon, who was in the center of the team. Come here. Yutian Shenming shouted at several running archers. I can shoot from here. When they looked up and saw Yutian Shenming's signal, they hurriedly moved in this direction. Do you know how to snipe? Yutian Shenming didn't forget to ask. If they didn't know how to snipe, they wouldn't be able to shoot from this position. Several archers angrily gave Yutian Shenming the middle finger as they ran. They felt that this question was simply insulting them. Yutian Shenming was very pleased and said to Brother Yu and Han family young master, no problem. But in the end, he was happy too early. Several archers suddenly let out miserable screams when they ran halfway. Then a few figures appeared beside them. At the same time, the archers in various parts of the square were ambushed by bandits. The sudden appearance of the bandits beside them caused all the archers to be at a loss and unable to resist. In an instant, the only archer Yutian Shenming could see was himself. The original archer's position had been replaced by thieves. Yutian Shenming couldn't help but feel nervous. The thieves of the past world who had been released from the Thief Association finally arrived on the battlefield. This was just the beginning. At this time, apart from the Mage Academy, all the resurrection points had truly resurrected. The people of the past realms had been revived, and they were all rushing over without stopping. But since the members of the Defeat the Former Dust Army, who died in battle had the same mentality, they couldn't help but meet each other on the road. The confrontation between the two forces had spread to the entire city. People could be seen fighting each other in the corners of the streets and alleys. What should we do? Yutian Shenming was anxious. It was impossible for him to kill Silvermoon by himself. Seeing the golden meatball become more and more arrogant, people in the Sword Demon's group kept falling. The defensive line kept retreating, and the formation kept being compressed. The weak mages at the back were hit by the retreating mages at the front, and they all swayed. Many of them had already fallen to the ground. The scene was chaotic. Kill. Silvermoon was now arrogant. He raised the king's sword, high in the air, golden light shining everywhere. The new reinforcements from the past realms kept entering the range of his king's command. All of them as if they were on steroids. Yutian Shenming was so angry that he jumped up and down. He wanted to turn the bow in his hand into a rocket launcher and blow Silvermoon up. At this moment, the sky above Silvermoon and the others seemed to be torn apart. The space distorted, and a blazing light suddenly appeared. A ring of fire suddenly spun and ignited, then descended. It was just a ring of fire falling from the sky. What was the big deal? The people of the past realms under the ring of fire thought disapprovingly. If a few of them came at the same time, it might be a bit scary. Just one? Everyone snorted. The ring of fire suddenly fell to the ground and burned. Everyone was stunned. There was suddenly a large empty circle in the middle of the past realm's formation. The circle was empty, and only Silvermoon stood there alone with his king's sword, high in the center. What's going on? Where did everyone go? Everyone looked around in confusion. Even the Sword Demon, and the others were a bit nervous. Could it be that Silvermoon had used some kind of space-time teleportation skill to send that circle of people to some place? Was there such a skill? Wasn't it too fantastical and crazy? The Sword Demon and the others couldn't help but pay attention to their rear. Could it be that those people had suddenly been teleported here? Only Silvermoon knew what was going on. It was too high. The attack power of this ring of fire falling from the sky was too high. Silvermoon didn't die only because his equipment was too powerful. The king's sword in his hand, apart from the king's command skill, also had the data of +8 to all attributes. High physical defense equipment, high magic defense accessories. Silvermoon's full set of top-notch equipment was definitely not an undeserved reputation. Even so, this ring of fire falling from the sky had still beaten him to the brink of death. It was true that he had survived, but he wasn't far from death. This sorcerer's attack power was too shocking. As Silvermoon thought to himself, he saw someone squeeze out from the other side's scattered formation. A dark black sorcerer robe, and a purple longsword covered in a layer of black light. 27149. Everyone in the past realms had accepted this mission, and as soon as they saw this person, they immediately recognized his face. Gu Fei smiled at everyone. Sorry I'm late. Why are you here? The sword demon was surprised to see Gu Fei. How did I get here? It's a long story. I rushed out of Silent Night Valley and walked on the plains, dodging a few thieves from the past realms who came to harass me. When I came to the northern gate, I ran into my enemy, the Black Hand mercenary group. I finally got rid of them and came here. Seeing you guys fighting, I couldn't help but come and help. Oh, that's right, I learned a spell on the way here, you see. Gu Fei said in one breath, then pointed the Night Streamer sword in his hand. Heavenly Fire Wheel. Fall. Everyone looked up. The people from the past realm screamed and scattered, but there was no movement. TK. Amidst the hissing, the people from the past realms blushed, feeling that they shouldn't have been scared like this. They hurriedly regrouped, and Silvermoon also shouted anxiously. Don't waste time, keep charging quickly. Although he hadn't died just now, the boundless grass around him had been instantly killed. Although he hadn't died just now, the king's command around him had been instantly killed. He had to use this time to quickly cripple the enemy. Kill. The people from the past realms echoed the guild leader's order and shouted loudly. As soon as he said that, a wave of flame spun above his head. By the time the people from the past realms realized it, it was already too late to dodge. The ring of fire fell, and another empty circle appeared, with Silvermoon standing alone in the middle of the circle. This is the effect I wanted. Gu Fei smiled. He didn't mention that it was his rubbish super long cast time. With that said, he pointed his sword at Silvermoon in the center of the circle. You have a lot of HP. Although Silvermoon had been beaten to the point of death just now, the surrounding priests had instantly restored his HP to full in an instant. It was the same this time. When the ring of fire fell, the priests outside the circle immediately began to work frantically. In the end, only Silvermoon had the chance to enjoy it. The others' HP hit 0, and the priests had no chance to heal them. Even Sword Demon was speechless. This was the first time he had seen Gu Fei use a spell. Wasn't this attack power a bit too much? Moreover, he said that he had just learned it. Did that mean that he hadn't practiced many spells? In addition, he was holding a sword. Would a sword have magic attack power? At this moment, the chaotic battle on the field stopped like a game that had been paused. Everyone looked at Gu Fei. As long as the sword was pointed at someone, that person's heart would tremble. Are you looking for him to take revenge for your brother? Zhu Xian asked Cloud Morning quietly. Cloud Dusk snorted in response. Don't look for me. I can't help you. Zhu Xian continued. Fuck you. Cloud Morning cursed. Gu Fei was in high spirits. He pointed at the sword demon and the other mages who were swaying left and right. You guys. If you can't reach them, stand outside. Of course you can't hit them if you keep hiding behind them. Don't waste time. Hurry and get rid of him. Silvermoon watched as time flew by, and her people were still in a daze. She was extremely anxious. She immediately gave the order, and signaled for 2 warriors to go and get rid of Gu Fei. The 2 warriors didn't hold back and used Whirlwind Slash. Others were afraid of this move, but Gu Fei wasn't. He quickly stabbed his sword into the ground, and used the momentum to jump out. He flew out like a cannonball. Like a divine soldier descending from the sky, Gu Fei used the momentum to fly in front of Silvermoon. His sword was like a swimming dragon, and he raised his hand. Silvermoon was stunned. He saw Gu Fei flying over, but he didn't dodge. In his mind, it wasn't Gu Fei who was flying over, but he was sent flying by the Whirlwind Slash. He would probably turn into a white light before he even hit the ground. There were so many players in the square, and they all thought the same thing as Silvermoon. Who would have thought that not only did Gu Fei block it, but he also used the momentum to attack. He landed, turned around, and raised his sword again. He shouted, Dual Flame Flash. Flash. Flame spread across the blade, and instantly ignited Silvermoon. Level 18 Mage Skill, Dual Flame Flash. Instant cast, cause the target to enter a burning state. Their HP would decrease every second for 5 seconds. After 2 attacks, Silvermoon still hadn't died. This guy had been killed by baptism of fire 3 times in a row. But at that time, Silvermoon didn't have the king's sword. Nor did he cast life blessing on himself. Nor did he have the king's command. His current state was completely different. Moreover, there were countless priests around him, and they didn't care if he died or not. They just kept casting healing spells. Only then did Cloud Twilight and the others react. They roared and pounced forward majestically. Sword Demon had long since activated stealth. Taking advantage of the opponent's disorderly formation, he snuck towards Silvermoon. In the distance, the Han family young master patted Yutian Shenming. Look for an opportunity to finish him off. Yutian Shenming was still thinking. Such a high attack. How did he do it? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.